Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Wednesday night broadcast of the This Week in Science podcast. Oh, it's going to be so much fun tonight. Natalia, you don't like fun, right?
I am a fun sponge. I soak it up and I give you nothing but pain.
No, if you get squozed, then the fun comes out again. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I can suck it up and then I become bloat with fun, like swole with fun.
Swole. Off to a great beginning.
Yes.
I have to let everyone know that as we get started with the show, this is the live thing, everyone. It will be edited for the podcast. A bit.
God.
Who knows? Who knows what will happen and what may be removed? But this is what you get. So thank you for being here for this. Hit the likes, the subscribes, the thumbs up, send the link to your friends. Make sure everybody's here to see us talk about science once again. Are we ready to go live?
Let's do it.
Science.
Let's do
science.
it. Yes.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
All right, here we go. Beginning the show in 3, 2. This is TWIS. This Week in Science, episode number 952, recorded on Wednesday, November 29th, 2023, under the Beaver moon. I'm Dr. Kiki, and tonight on the show, we are going to fill your heads with cysts, ladies, and kisses. But first, disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. Science is ultimately a human endeavor. We attempt to be clever with our questions and tools, trying so hard not to be made fools by the nature of things. We are human beings, we shout into the void. We want to be heard, not accidentally destroyed by the flip of a bit, a volcano, a comet. We aim for greatness by climbing hierarchical scaffolds created by ancestors of old who had no idea who we would be after they came down from the trees. As we build and create in this time and place, can we see who we will be when we cross space instead of seas? Or do we look down our noses for singular purposes, beavering away for another day? Look up for a moment and imagine what could happen with us here on another episode of This Week in Science. Coming up next.
I've got the kind of mind that can't get enough. I want to learn everything. I want to fill it all up with new discoveries that happen every day of the week. There's only one place to go to find the knowledge I seek. I want to know what's happening. What's happening? What's happening this week in science? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening this week in science?
Good science, everyone. Welcome to another episode of This Week in Science. Thank you so much for joining us for another show. And I'm really glad to have Natalia Reagan joining us once again with her skulls and brains and bones and thoughts and
Hugs, mustaches,
yes.
existential crises. I bring all the things.
That's the best one. Let's have those.
Yeah. Oh, I got chock full. I said I was full with fun. Underneath the fun is a layer filled with existential crises.
Yeah. It's
Like
true
an
for
onion.
most of us.
Yeah.
So many
Right?
layers. We contain so many layers of onion that make us cry. All right. No crying tonight. I really hope we don't end up there. We're hoping to have fun, optimism, reality, science. Great time. And let's see. On the show ahead, I brought stories about a cloacal kiss that was very surprising, some cysts in the snow, angry lady flies, some climate action, hopefully solutions talk, and then I've got some brain stuff at the end. Do we have our own Wi-Fi? What? Natalia, you brought some stories for tonight.
I
What kind of things
did.
do you want to talk about?
A lot of monkey business, technically grade 8 business. I brought some stuff about the importance of cooperation in our own species and how we can actually look to bonobos who do more cooperating than competing, because chimps, they like to fight. And I also have Panama, where I did my research. I studied spider monkeys there, and they actually just had a coup for conservation where they were able to sort of stave off some mining that is being done on the Atlantic coast there. And a lot of protests had been going on. So we're seeing some great gains for conservation. What else did I send you? There was menopausal chimps and bonobos, chimps specifically. We humans are very unique in the fact that we have menopause, and we'll talk about the grandmother hypothesis, but it looks like chimps might be doing it too. Everybody's going through menopause. It's the cool thing to do.
Oh, yay.
I know. I'm like, and maybe this is my brain on potential perimenopause. Also, Women the Hunter. That two friends of mine who are bioanthropologists just wrote an article for Scientific American, and they are being trolled by a lot of men on the internet who probably couldn't hunt to save their life about how they're crazy for thinking that women were hunting equally to men in prehistory. But science and research says otherwise. So yeah.
And you know what? We're just crazy enough to talk about it on this show. That's right.
Yeah,
we're gonna
do it. Yeah,
we're gonna do it. Yes, and if you don't remember from last week, all of you out there who are watching, who are listening, Natalia is the intelligently hilarious banana-in-chief, bearer of mustaches, caretaker of the gelatinous raisin, and additionally, an anthropologist, primatologist, actress, and comedian. So I'm looking forward to another fabulous show. Thanks so much for joining again.
Thank you for having me. That was so much fun.
Okay, goodbye now. We're done. No. No, we have things.
The fun sponge has reached her quota. I gotta go now. No, that was hilarious. I had so much fun. So are you kidding? I jumped at the chance in a banana suit.
And you're like, I need to go buy a new sponge. Obviously, that's gonna need more swole. For everyone out there who has not yet subscribed to This Week in Science, you can find us all places podcasts are found. Look for This Week in Science. We broadcast live weekly, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Pacific time-ish on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. And our website is twis.org. We are on the social medias. I think more so now. I'm on the Blue Sky, and, there's the Mastodon and the other things. But we're there. But go to our website if you have questions, and don't forget to subscribe. Time to jump in to the science. We're going to go with some of the serious stuff right off the top. This week is the week that COP28 gets started. And this is not another season of a COP program, like 911 or whatever those programs, reality TV COP programs are. I just broke a thing. Woohoo! Yay, Kiki, good job.
Did you break the internet?
I broke the internet.
I thought so.
Gosh. Yes. The COP conference is the annual United Nations Climate Change Conference, and it's been going on for 28 years. This is the 28th instance of it. It starts this week under the shadow of a bunch of news that the host country, Dubai, and the United Arab Emirates are hoping to use the gathering to benefit their oil and gas contracts. We've spoken at length on this program previously about issues surrounding greenwashing of climate efforts by fossil fuel companies and how many of these agreements and these conferences just seem to be makings of good financial agreements for companies that already have good financial agreements as opposed to actually making solutions. But this particular news this week was a particularly low blow. So instead of talking about that and the poor faith bargaining that's going on between governments and industry finance executives, I want to talk about solutions and the things that need to be addressed if we do want to minimize the growth of our temperature trajectory as we recently in the last week did hit over that 2 degrees Celsius barrier. But generally, we are well on our path toward, as a globe, exceeding the 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature increase that was stated as a limit by the UN Climate Change Conference back in 2015. So that's the part of it. Now let's talk about the part of it that is going well. The World Resources Institute just released a report of their findings of the annual State of Climate Action report series. They've done this every single year. And this year, they've been trying to put together a comprehensive roadmap of what's needed by 2030 and 2050. So kind of looking at these different time steps moving forward and giving targets for what we need to do. They've been analyzing 42 indicators of progress. And how many, Natalia, do you think we're on track with to keep the 2030 target of 1.5 degrees Celsius?
I don't know.
How many?
What is the number between? Is it 1 in 4? 1 in 5?
Well, somewhere between 1 and 42, because that's how many factors they analyzed.
Yeah, but I don't think it's even close to 40. Yeah, I'll be generous. 20?
1. 1.
Yeah.
Right direction, on track. And so the surprising thing is that is the sales of electric vehicles.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No.
Not the thing that you would expect necessarily, but electric vehicles, probably because it's being pushed forward and it's a profit maker.
Cool.
It's cool. Yeah. It's gone through a lot of work to become a part of the auto market. But
oh, dear Lord.
Yeah, working there. So the things that are in the right direction, yet off track, just not quite doing it, are the share of zero carbon sources in electricity generation. So what are we using that's sustainable, that's renewable, that is not carbon related? The share of electric vehicles in the light duty vehicle fleet. So these are fleet vehicles, buses, cargo vans, all sorts of, these heavy things. Why are they not? They're big. Put big batteries in them. Put big hydrogen fuel cells in them. What is happening there? I don't know. Anyway, share of electric vehicles and 2- and 3-wheeler sales. So motorcycles and 3-wheelers.
Okay.
Ruminant meat productivity. We're still too many cows.
We don't need that. That's, Meatless Monday. I haven't eaten endotherm since 1995, so cows are safe from me. But they've all been marked safe from Natalia since then. But they, between their farts and producing them, it's just, it's sorry, it's all bad. It would behoove us to stop eating. It would behoove us.
Even once.
We need to really ruminate on this. Yeah,
we do need to ruminate. Oh boy.
I'm sorry.
It's
I'm milking these puns. It's beginning. Just sneaking them in.
I might have to send you out to the forest, but oh no, I can't, because reforestation is not doing what it's supposed to do. We're still cutting down and burning down forests. Sorry, even though you have a pretty dark green forest behind you.
Oh yeah, so real. So real.
It's not doing anything for the climate. I'm sorry.
Sadly, I think this probably was produced by fossil fuels.
Polyesters and
probably.
Yes, anyway, we will not talk about that for a moment. Share of global GHG greenhouse gas emissions under mandatory corporate climate risk disclosure. So those corporations that are supposed to be disclosing and reducing their greenhouse gas emissions, they're not doing it. And this gets back to the greenwashing and the issues that are at hand. So there are places that are in the right direction. They're just off track. We need to convince those corporations to continue their efforts to actually do good, Let's work on reforestation. Let's work on reducing the amount of meat that we eat every week. Let's work on those zero carbon sources. What can we do to get our policymakers to start really implementing solar, wind, water, geothermal, all the things that we have out there? I'm not even going to talk about the number of things that are well off track because there's a big number of them. But the things that are definitely in the wrong direction: carbon intensity of global steel production, share of kilometers traveled by passenger cars. We need more ride sharing. Share of battery electric vehicles and fuel cell electric vehicles and bus sales. Again, that goes to the fleet stuff. Mangrove loss. We need to really be good to the mangroves.
I love mangroves. Lots of crocodiles. Sorry.
Crocodiles we need the crocodiles too.
Yeah, we do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Robust
Yeah,
ecosystem.
Yes. We're wasting food, and we are still financing fossil fuels to the tune of billions of dollars a year. There's a U-turn that is needed there. So things are changing. There are solutions. We have solutions. Solar is doing so much better. There was just an increase in the capability of solar cells to turn solar energy into electricity. There have been lots of advances in ways that we can work with communities for reforestation, to protect the mangroves, to protect seagrasses, to protect so many things and work sustainably. But
yeah,
we have solutions, everyone. Willpower is where it's at.
Willpower and financial incentives. I worked in Panama, and that's why I brought up that article, which we'll get to later. But I know that this is kind of a neat story. The work that I did in Panama was to do a survey of a critically endangered spider monkey to understand the connectivity or the lack of connectivity of forest fragments. So we could understand where reforestation and corridor maintenance needed to be. And I was originally going to do the ethnoprimatology based on the survey, but the original researcher backed out. And so I did it. And I was hoping to be more on the ground with the landowners. I did a little bit of that afterwards. But this is the coolest thing. My uncle, who is much younger than me, he's 29 years old. He's awesome. He's working in actually sustainable food systems, went from business into that. But he was working with a company who is basically doing carbon credits to the landowners, or giving them to the landowners to incentivize reforestation of the area that I specifically worked in. So it's kind of one of those. Yeah, I was like, oh my,
full circle.
I know. I was like, how the heck because I miss it. I love it so much. Los Santos, Panama. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful, but it's one of the most heavily deforested areas in all of Panama. It's one of the last tropical dry forests in the region. It's very unique in the fact that it has a very unique ecosystem, and also, it's a lot more temperate than, say, like the Canal Zone. But anyways, when you give people, it's kind of like what Jane Goodall and a lot of other conservationists have said in the past few decades, is conservation, whether it's the forest, whether it's animals, food systems, it has to be people first, everything else second, because if the needs of people are not met, they're always going to go for the option that's going to benefit immediate benefits, especially if they can't feed themselves. So again, I think that money, unfortunately, is what, and that's why these dumb companies, if they just, if you want to help the people on the ground, give them the reason to do it.
Yeah, I think that's it's all in the wallet, right? Or in the survival of people. But I think that's the value proposition, right? Is if we ruin the ecosystems, we're ruining our survivability. But
it's a very selfish.
Yeah, but the long-term planning of how these things fit together in a cycle it's hard to pull through.
Yeah, because conservation is such a selfish endeavor if you think about it. Even like saving the turtles, it's like we'll be saving the world that will ultimately sustain us in theory. So, well, technically we don't live in the ocean. That was a bad example. But if we save the frogs, why do we keep picking these aquatic animals? Frogs are definitely if we save the ferrets. It's been a long day.
California won't be happy with that. But Yeah, no, if conservation is selfish, then I'm a selfish person. There we go. Hoorah. Oh, you know what else is selfish sometimes? But I don't know, sex. This is a total segue that's terrible and switching topics entirely.
Oh my God, Kiki, go on.
I might be a little batty about this story, so we're going to talk about bat sex. And there have been lots and lots of studies on bats and how they have intercourse. But there's a few species, and they've taken videos and, they watched bats hold on to each other. One bat's on the bottom, one bat's on the top. They hold on to each other lovingly for a while. Yes. In this particular study published in Current Biology, researchers looked at a particular species called the serotine bat, Eptisicus serotinus. And this bat, they started studying it because the researchers, the lead author, Nicolas Fezel of the University of Lausanne, says, wow, these bats have extremely long, large penises. So how does that work? Because apparently the vagina of the female bat is much smaller than the penis of the male bat. They do have a very long cervix, so that's interesting in itself. So these bats, these batty researchers, they collaborated with a bat rehabilitation center in Ukraine that opportunistically filmed mating pairs of bats.
Yeah.
And then there was also a bat enthusiast and citizen scientist named Jan Jukken who filmed hours of bat sex in a church attic in the Netherlands. So this story
keeps getting better.
Is just all the details of this story. Better.
I lecker that. Wow. Hey.
So they analyzed 97 mating events, and what they saw is that these bats don't have sex like the rest of mammals. There's no penetration, and instead they have sex like birds. It's like a cloacal kiss where just the ends come together. They saw that these interactions between the loving bats lasted usually less than 53 minutes, but the longest one they recorded, 12.7 hours. They did not have it's a marathon there. The researchers were not, because this is just opportunistic recording, they weren't able to actually sample anything from the females to know how much or if any semen was left behind, how much was stored in the cervix. The idea is that the unusually large cervix or long cervix is extra long to hold extra semen. But they don't know that for a fact in this particular species. They characterized the morphology of these bats and they captured some of them. And they found that the measurements of these particular bat genitalia, when erect, are around 7 times longer and 7 times wider than the female genitalia, the vagina, and 1/5 as long as the bat's head to body length. 1/5 of the length of the bat.
It's like a giant armadillo.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? So first they were like, how does this work? And then they're, oh, well, it works differently. This is the first time we've seen this in a mammal. This cloacal kiss kind of thing. But they're interested in learning about what's happening between the male and female sexual selection pressures, because very often females have selection to avoid unwanted copulations and unwanted things. And so what they speculate is that there are tail membranes that the females have evolved that cover their vaginas and their genitalia, to cover the lower parts and protect themselves. But these very large penises of the males have been evolved to push those aside and overcome the membranes to reach the vulvas. And this particular quote, and I'm not going to show any videos of the bat mating, or we don't need to. I'm not going to show that on.
We don't have 12 hours, Kiki.
I don't have 12 hours here. This particular quote is just ridiculous. The researcher says their next plans are to study the mating behavior in more natural contexts, not in these, specialized situations like church attics. And they want to investigate other bat morphology and mating habits. And, quote, we are trying to develop a bat porn box, which will be like an aquarium with cameras everywhere.
I am so in.
I really think that we need to fund this research. So, national science foundations everywhere. This is essential research. We need to understand the copulatory patterns of animals across the animal kingdom. We can't just assume that because birds do it one way, that bats don't do it the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and also birds have so many, there's so many variations. Like I used to have chickens. Yeah, they're duck. Yeah. Who needs a wine opener when you got a duck penis? That's all I can say. I mean, they have a corkscrew. Well, some ducks, not all ducks, but a corkscrew shaped a baloney pony. And good news, the female ducks have a corkscrew shaped VJFK. But yeah, this article about the bats was bouncing around in my my group chat because we're a bunch of weirdos, and there was one quote, and I'm going to try to find it, that was just so poetic and amazing about just the sheer size of this phallic warrior sword that these bats are packing heat. By the way, bats are known to also have baculum or bacula, which is plural for baculum, or the penis bone.
Similar to dogs.
Dogs, yeah. So there's
Yes.
a bunch of animals that have them. Non-human primates have them, except for spider monkeys. They don't have them. So that makes them pretty darn unique. Where is my bat wiener quote that is so absolutely beautiful and poetic? God, it's so far back there. It's almost disappointing.
Like somebody said something funny one time.
Oh yes, I called the species the Ron Jeremy of Chiroptera. Let's see. Yeah, it would be because I did the math because I had to. It would be like a 6-foot dude having a 15-inch baloney pony. But one of my favorite quotes of one of the articles I read.
That would be unwieldy. Yeah,
it would be. To be fair, the giant armadillo has, in comparison, it would be like a 6-foot tall man with a 2-foot long baloney pony. But this quote really shook me. We think it would really be difficult for it to enter anything. That's what they said about the bat. Anything. They didn't even specify any bat, just anything.
Anything.
I'm just seeing it flying around with a toddler's arm. Anyway, it's wild.
And so this also leads to another just kind of general animal adaptation evolution question, which is we normally think about how the size of things, especially in flying animals, impacts their weight to ability like how ability to fly, how much mass are they trying to fly around through the air.
The peacock is a great example. That's tough on that bird to have all those feathers.
All the feathers. So what is the challenge of this giant member of the bat body, and what's the trade-off? Like, is it specifically the competition between the males and the females in the bat society, or like, is there something else? What's happening there?
I'm also wondering about the testes size too, because like, for instance, a lot of like promiscuous species, I just did actually a live stream about body counts in humans and how in dating people care about how many people you've been with. And I went through all these animals where it's like, are you kidding? That only just increases their chances of having, healthy offspring. But, for instance, like the mouse lemur, the testes, the females are very promiscuous, and the male's testes are like 10 times the size of what would generally be a normal size for that size, because they're very, very, very small diminutive species. But or even the southern right whale, which also they boast the largest testicles in the world. Each silo of seed weighs 1,100 pounds, but the females are polyandrous and they're highly promiscuous. So I'm just curious about that, like, to go a little bit further. I wonder if there's any
right in the societal culture of these bats, what kind of promiscuity is there? What is the competition for mates? How does it work in that? Like, why would one mating take 12.7 hours or whatever? Why would it hanging on to keep others away? Like, what's going on? What competition is happening?
That's my thought, is that it's, you're kind of honing in on that one female to make sure that there is no other competition. And that's interesting. Yeah. Cause there was even when was it white-faced capuchin females that when they're in their early pregnancy, they'll have sex with multiple males to confuse paternity, which cuts down in infanticide, because that's a problem too. Sometimes in non-human primates, they'll, males will kill the offspring of others. So it's good to confuse paternity. And humans are lucky that way because we have concealed ovulation. You don't know when I'm ovulating.
I don't. Especially because you're in LA and I'm in Portland. And so I have no idea.
I'll send you a postcard.
Hey, awesome. So good to hear from you. Okay. Yeah. I love studies like this because very often people will say, well, what's the use of understanding this? And I actually think that this is what we're getting at, is there's the humor in, our, Beavis and Butthead 12-year-old mind humor. But at the same time, there is a value in understanding what kind of evolutionary forces have led to certain formats and systems and the way that they work. So anyway, I want to talk about bloody glaciers now. Speaking of ovulation.
You know how to get me hot and bothered.
Oh yeah. Oh, you've done. Hey,
now I want a snow cone.
Sorry, not this one. You don't want this snow cone. Everybody says never eat yellow snow. Don't eat the red snow either. If the snow has a color, it's really not generally something you should be like, oh, I'm thirsty, and make a snow cone with, or whatever. No. And we've seen for years there are these images of these seemingly red rivers down the faces of glaciers, or these spots on snow-covered mountaintops that are inexplicably bloody looking. And what is that? What's going on there?
The blood of their enemies, Kiki.
That's right. I was destroyed by my glacial nemesis. Well, it's algae. It's algae, just nice red algae that lives there. And I love the name that this algae is, Sanguina nivelloides. Sanguina, for the bloody color. Yes, sanguina. These researchers from CNRS, the French Alternative Energies and Atomic Energy Commission, Matteo, France, INRAE, and the Université Grenoble-Alpes, have been looking at this organism because not a lot of other researchers have in the past. And so through many years, they've been like, why What's going on there? What are they doing? How do they live there? How does this algae survive? So in this particular study, they used 3D electron microscopy to do subcellular imaging, and they were able to get a really good idea of the structure of these algal cells and how they develop into communities. And no, they do not live in the ice crystals of the snow. They live in the kind of melty water that surrounds those ice crystals. And it is the living in that just above freezing water that allows them to survive. Their architecture makes sure that the membrane is wrinkled. There's lots of little tiny wrinkles, kind of like the surface of the human brain, so it increases the surface area. And that allows it to get more access to nutritional ions in this nutrient-poor environment. Looking at it also, the cool thing that they discovered, in addition to, oh, look, they don't live in the ice, they live in the water, dun, 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 they also determined that these organisms have, they are able to do photosynthesis. They have the machinery, the cytoplasts, to do photosynthesis. However, differently from normal plants that have all of those mitochondria and chloroplasts set in one direction to pick up the sun, because of the fact that ice and the snow is diffracting and moving, like the light's coming from all directions inside of the snow, they're not set up in one direction. So the particular part of the chloroplast, the thylakoid body that works, is they're just all over the place. They're randomly set up, and it's totally different from other organisms. And so this is a very surprising discovery in looking in this algae, how it works. And they have found that when the snow melts, it gets deposited into the soil. It adapts to the different environment. They don't understand what happens once it gets into the soil, though. So the cysts that have the chloroplasts that are photosynthesizing and they're living in this ice water. They're there, and then they shift to something else and transform to something else in the soil. And this is the big question for, like, as climate change is melting glaciers and snow-capped mountains, what does this mean? What are they going to do?
Scary. Because red algae cannot be that great.
Usually,
sometimes. I've spent time in Naples, Florida, and it was not. You don't go swimming in that.
Right. So the red algae blooms, right? You don't. That's dangerous. It's toxic.
No.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. It just reminds me of, like, I mean, just life stages, a tadpole to a frog. Like, what next? What are you gonna become? What
you gonna do next, huh?
Yeah. Are you going to junior college? What's happening? What's
up, blood algae? Where are you going next?
I thought I'd start a podcast and then I'd start doing stand up, but I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Every time I hear somebody say, I'm going to start a podcast, I go, oh, good for you. That's nice.
That's great.
Yeah. Oh my God. Let's move forward to, I think, my last story of the first part of the show here. I'm going to just
angry flies. No.
Yeah. Angry lady flies. It's not just flies. It's angry female flies. Why would female flies get mad? What is going on that female flies get angrier than male flies and seem to have sustained aggression, persistent aggression, compared to other flies? Well, researchers just published their study from the California Institute of Technology that I find really interesting. They had an idea. This is now in eLife, so this is actually open source. So you can take a look at this study yourself if you want to. Go look at all the data that they discovered. They had an original hypothesis, which was that there were these two cell types, and they thought that they worked together to create aggression. And so they were like, all right, let's look at these different cell types and see how they work together. And so they separated female flies by a barrier, and then they like stimulated these particular cell types like to make the flies aggressive or angry for like 30 seconds. And then they separated the flies for different periods of time and then removed the barrier and then let the flies go at it. And they found that one cell type, it's called ALPG, ALPG, it contributes to persistent aggression. And when these cells were activated, the flies would get angry and headbutt and push other flies around for up to 10 minutes. To be like, I'm not done here. I'm gonna keep angry. But then they had another cell type called PC1D, and that also is involved in the aggression, but it didn't cause that persistent aggression, and it also didn't really influence whether ALPG made the persistent aggression happen. They also saw that neither of these, once they were stimulated, continued to show persistent neuronal activity. It was like they were stimulated and then they stopped, but something else was going on and kept the persistent aggression going. And so they were like, what is going on here? And so they think that there are other factors involved, that there are neuromodulators, the effects of neurons downstream, that there might be another circuit involved. But there's a big question now because you'd normally think if the aggression is persistent, that the neuronal firing is persistent. And that is, it's like bang, 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 keep going, bang, 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 keep going. And the neuron's telling the fly brain to continue whatever it's doing. But it's not. So, again, why are we funding fly research about how female flies get mad at each other and push each other around? Well, we want to know about why people get into, road rage issues, and why do we have aggression? Why do we get angry, and why is it hard for us to push it off? Not everyone can breathe it off or shake it off so easily. And why is it that some people can and some people can't? Why are some psychiatric disorders more aggressive than others? What's happening in the cells that make that happen?
Yeah, that is fascinating. I really do think that, a lot of people have, I don't know if you heard that, but that was Raisin expressing her disdain for the angry flies. No, but
you're just a fly. It's not me, not a
right.
pug.
But just, I think people have bad days, and what exactly contributes to that, and what is the snapping point, and what creates a snapping point that is persistent. Like you can't breathe it off. You can't meditate it away. You can't, hug it out where I think a lot of people, right, especially right now, as I'm watching a lot of people on the verge of losing their homes or have lost their livelihood, I think I worry about folks. I know I was listening to a real uplifting. I was listening to NPR earlier today, and they were talking about, yes, there's been another uptick in suicide yet again. You know what I mean? And it was just like,
Hey.
but I think this is important. This is why,
Yep.
I think, and also like you said, persistent is the key word, because everyone gets angry. Everyone has a moment where you're like, and then you let it go. It's that sustained level of anger that means that it bleeds over to other parts of your life, other people. That's the scary part, right?
Yeah. And while I don't think that I don't ever want this to lead to like a pill or a treatment, that like, you never get angry.
I would like
Life
it
is
to lead to
always calm.
yeah.
No aggression ever. Nothing like that. But it's in cases of, like psychiatric disorders that do make people more aggressive. How can we treat disorders or, for people who want to be less aggressive and therapy's not working or whatever, what can we do? And how will this potentially help us understand the basics of like the neuronal signaling behind?
Kiki, I have an
How
idea.
it works.
I want to take
What are
these
we gonna do?
flies. Yeah.
Okay, let me know. What are we doing?
I think these flies, you need to throw them into late stage capitalism and just see how that goes, because I think that's I think that, I mean, honestly, like if anything, I think systematic change is key, but if we can't do that.
Yeah. Lady flies, this prime egg laying territory on this ripe banana. It's only going to the highest bidder who can pay all in cash. It's only for those of you who've maybe had a, an exit event. Oh, yes.
That'll create some sustained. Yeah, the little flies. Yeah.
Happy, angry little lady flies.
I would watch that. I would absolutely watch that show. A little stop motion action or claymation. That would actually be, reminds me of what was Beetlejuice. Remember? And the fly in Beetlejuice when he eats the fly, when he grabs it and yeah. Wait, no, is he is the fly, right?
He was the fly, but then I think he kills it later.
Yeah. He's like maybe they're all just maybe it's just Beetlejuice.
Don't say it 3 times or we're really in trouble.
Okay.
Although I hear it's coming back. I hear there's a second one coming, which I'm really excited about.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Yeah, put that on your little radar. I mean, it might take a really long. Who knows? Who knows what's?
Oh my
knows?
God! I want to play
Miss
Argentina. I would love to. She passed away. She was my favorite character. I know. I was like, oh man, I would love to pay homage.
Well, I hope that there's a producer out there who says you'll be perfect.
Yes.
We will hire you for that. Yes. All right. Let's go from angry female flies who can't control their aggression because researchers messed with their minds to aging lady chimps.
Aging lady chimps. So yes.
Tell me some stories. I'm excited.
Yes.
Okay.
So one thing that's really unique to humans, or so we thought was very unique to humans, is this lovely old thing called menopause. And menopause, affects women. It basically is post-reproductive years. It's a transitional time. And it's becoming, thank goodness, it's getting a little bit more scientific research, because it's one of those, because it's not male-centric and it's not super sexy, it doesn't get the same amount of research and attention and funding to understand what happens. And so, but one of the things that we've thought for the longest time is humans are pretty much the only species that goes through menopause. We have discovered that orca females also go through menopause, which is pretty amazing, right? And we talked about orcas last time I was here.
Probably explains a lot about that female orca's behavior, but anyway.
Seriously. And she's a younger one.
Oh, okay.
Like, right? Well, like, that's the thing. Like, I was like, could she be like, she's like grandma that's like, screw all y'all. She actually was pregnant when she started it. But anyways, but no, female orcas, but they new research, and it's very new, and it's still kind of in its fledgling days of a chimp, and she's affectionately called Ma Rainey, like the singer. And she, where is this? Yes, these chimps survive post, reproductive years. And one of the theories that we have for what makes human mothers such great, mothers, because our babies are very, what we call altricial. There's precocial infants, those infants that immediately from birth can walk or grab on, or, can kind of at least sort of hack it. They don't have to they don't have to be held and suckled immediately, or not suckled, but held and, sort of doted on. But we have very altricial infants they're very needy. And so having a grandmother, having your mother be post, reproductive years helping you out would be a huge help. Huge help.
Yeah.
A lot of, multi-generational families living together allows mom to be able to, fend for herself, get food elsewhere, and grandma can help with child rearing. And it looks like chimps might have the same opportunities. And so a lot of chimps, can live into their late 60s, 70s. Ma Rainey is a 68-year-old female chimp.
In the wild?
Yeah, I believe so. Where is she? Hold on. Is she? Let me double check. Unfortunately, this is why I'm so frustrated. It's got a paywall. It was working for me at first, and now it won't let me see it. So you might be able to see it better than I do.
Yeah, I'm going to keep looking through this and see if I can. It doesn't specifically say, but they're talking about East African chimps in the wild. So
I believe it is in the wild. That's why this is also, again, very impressive that they've lived this long, because chimpanzees they get a bad rap for being very violent, because they can be very violent. And we'll get to that in a minute when we talk more about bonobos, the more amorous ape. But chimps, sometimes don't have the best endings. And so it's really impressive that these females can live that long. And what does that necessarily mean for the beginning of menopause for our own species? Because chimps and bonobos are our closest genetic relatives. We share a common ancestor with them roughly 6 million years ago, and then they split off on their evolutionary trajectories separately at the formation of the Congo River system 2 million years ago. Chimps were on one side, bonobos were on the other. That's why you can only find bonobos in Democratic Republic of Congo.
Wow. So just separated by a river.
A big river system. A big ass river. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the surmise. Yeah. And then, of course, we talked about a little bit about, this is why I love these studies that seem kind of like, what's the big deal? It's like, but this is, we don't want to completely look at these primates as models for our behavior, because we have to remember they've been there on their own evolutionary trajectory from when we split off, right? 6 million years ago. And culture is far more, cultural evolution is far faster than biological evolution. So their behavior now might be new in the past 40 years because of like resource availability changing, or, sometimes I think I don't know if I talked about Sapolsky on the last time I was on. I always talk about him.
Yes.
Yeah. The plasticity of primate behavior. Sometimes something bad will happen that will change the course of history. But it'll be interesting to hear and see more of this research coming out about what this means for chimps, and if they have they do have grandparents. Grandmothers will interact with their grandchildren in chimps. So but the problem is chimps are patrolocal, so the females disperse, so there's not as much of an opportunity as what you would see in, like, say, bonobos, where they mostly are both there.
That's really interesting, because I think
and they go back and visit.
Yeah, a lot of species, it's the males that disperse as opposed to the females. So that in itself is very interesting.
So that's why chimps have the males have this very strong sort of bond, and makes them exceptionally dangerous, because they all know each other, and there's like forming coalitions and having coups. The baboons we talked about last time, Sapolsky's baboons, they are matrolocal, so they're an example of males dispersing and joining groups. But in the case of chimps, it's the males that stick around.
And so these females who are they're reproductively active for a large portion of their lives, the majority of their lives, but they have menopause. And I mean, I guess the question is, it's so fascinating. The hormonal changes, how much of their lives are affected by those hormonal changes, like our lives are affected by the hormone changes that occur at puberty, at every month, at menopause. And then after, how does that change, as opposed to being grandmothers that are assisting and just there with, like you said, the grandmother hypothesis? How does that really influence the group survival? And how does it maintain cohesiveness among the females who are within the group or get invited into the group for mates.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is going to be really interesting because I've just talked to Amy Parrish, who studies bonobos, about some of the dynamic there, in particular with older females in bonobos. But I would love to know more about how these older female chimps are being treated by those in group and those joining the group. I think that would be fascinating to see if there's a level of respect, because again, like female chimps don't have it as good as female bonobos. Yeah, it really can be rough. So I don't know. It's something that I can't wait to hear more research. And also, do they get hot flashes? I want to know.
I
want to know
how you're feeling.
I know.
Tell me how you spend your nights.
Oh, God.
How many hot flashes?
Do they do hormone replacement therapy? I don't know.
Maybe they're self-medicating. We don't know these things.
I mean,
so much. Yeah, but this is fascinating. I mean, comparing and contrasting against different species like bonobos, like humans, and then within different populations of chimpanzees, because there are different traits in different chimpanzees who have adapted to different regions, right? So there are some chimpanzees that are very violent and very male dominated, and other chimpanzees that are a bit more social, even though that violence is still in there.
Yeah, and
there's individual differences, and so it's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, that no primate is widely distributed as humans, so it's interesting because, we talked a little bit about macaques last time. The second most widely distributed primate on Earth is macaques. They are everywhere. There's one right behind me. I can't get him to leave. Go home, Theodore. But Teddy. That's what I tell him when I'm off screen. Come here, Ted. But no, there is a lot of variation, but. Yeah, with humans, of course, there's so much variation between, in terms of individuality and stuff like that. But we see that too, with chimps, and especially like when you see them in captivity. That's why captive versus wild studies are important to remember that we still. I always think it's interesting, like especially in captive or those that just know they're always being watched. You always behave differently when you know you're being watched. It would be weird for us to think that animals don't know that, right? That they're not feeling, why won't she go away? Go home.
I think this is a great point, because in ecosystems, there's multiple studies, many, many studies going back years and years that show that birds, squirrels, chimps, all sorts of animals aren't just paying attention to themselves and the food they want. They're paying attention to the environment around them, and they know if somebody's there. Like, it's really hard for these nature documentarians to create one of their hides in the wild. Hunters also, you have to create a spot that is not noticeable that you get into. And sometimes you have to be there for days or weeks and hide your smell, hide everything about your presence so that the animal doesn't know that you're there. So for a lot of these wild studies, and in captivity for sure, if we're considering that these animals are anywhere close to us in cognitive abilities of awareness of environment, of course they know. They sit there and they throw poo at you at the window at the zoo. They're like, there it goes. I don't need that. Go away.
Yeah. And I mean, like you hit the nail on the head in terms of, we talk about hunters, but like, what's the difference between a hunter and a researcher? Time usually, and time with that individual, that was a big thing about Louis Leakey Louis Leakey was a famous paleoanthropologist who decided he wanted to have the great ape study. So he determined in the late, basically, oh my God, my brain is dead, in late 50s, early 60s, to send out 3 women in particular, because he thought women were patient enough to win over these great apes, that men were just too impatient. And that's why he sent out Jane Goodall, Diane Fossey, and Brute Galticos to study chimps, orangs, and mountain gorillas. But, again, it took a long time to win over. And who's to say that you're not? I used to joke that I had a pet rabbit for 10 years. And I used to joke that I felt like at any moment she was afraid I was going to eat her. She was always amped. For 10 years, I think she was stressed that I was going to eat her. Like, this was the day I'm going to eat her.
Stressed forever. Oh, and then
you know what I mean? Like, she never seemed chill. Like, Raisin looks like, I tell Raisin, I tell her every day, like, today's the day I'm not going to eat you. You're welcome. But tomorrow might be different,
It might be
so
different.
like
Who knows?
So it is super weirdly species centric of us to think that that all these behaviors that we're looking at primates and thinking that like they're like us. It's like, we've been around a drop in the geological time, but we're like them. But also the fact that, we're influencing their behavior too. So
absolutely. And how do we not? And I think that's one of the big questions, especially when we've got them in zoos or in, artificial habitats. How do we watch them? How do we do ethological studies without influencing them? It's still not real. And then in the wild, how do we, Jane Goodall, Diane Fossey, they all got to know their subjects. And how come you can say that didn't influence stuff? So,
yeah.
Oh, humans and science and our
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk more about bonobos,
sure,
or do you want to move? We could seg into the bonobos from the chimps, or go somewhere else.
So, like I mentioned, our closest genetic relatives are chimpanzees and bonobos. We share about 99% of our DNA with them, and we split off 6 million years ago from a common ancestor with the two of them, and then they split 2 million years ago. And bonobos. So, I don't know. Can I say the F word? If I can't, that's totally fine. But I generally say it sometimes. I can, here. Okay. So chimps are known for fighting it out, whereas bonobos are known for fornicating it out. I'll fork it out. They fork it out.
Yes, that's great. Great.
Yeah. That is how they deal with all tension. Like, say, for instance, there's a banana on the ground, two chimps see it. They'll look at the banana. They'll look at each other. Bare teeth, look back down at the banana, look at each other, and fight to the death. And so one of them ultimately expires. The other one grabs the banana and runs off. Two bonobos look at this banana. They look down at the banana. They look at each other.
This is an opportunity.
Yeah, they look down at. Yeah, exactly, exactly. They're like, I know where I'm gonna put that banana. Let's make this real kinky. But yeah, that's what they're like, I'll show you how to peel a banana with. Okay. But yes, so they make love every which way from Sunday. And it's not just males and females. Females will do a thing called GG rubbing, which is primate scissoring. And then males will do sword fights or fencing.
Wait, is it really GG rubbing? That's not the scientific term.
They call it GG rubbing. Genital rubbing.
Oh,
I don't know if you know this, but I wrote the chapter on copulatory postures of non-human primates in the Encyclopedia of Primatology.
I love you even more right now.
I honestly don't know. I do know why they asked me, but I don't study this, Kiki. And they're like, Natalia,
will you write this?
I feel like this was a gag thing too. I'm like, I studied the distribution of spider monkeys and forest fragments, and they're like, would you please do monkey sex positions? Thank you, please and thank you. Bye. And they also had me do intromission pattern, which is how many licks it gets to the center of the Tootsie Roll Pop, basically like how many strokes to get to. And I'm like, why me? Why? The point being, yes, GG rubbing,
because you are able to discuss this so well.
Thank you.
Yes,
I wasn't allowed to use the term reverse cowgirl, and I'm still mad about it because it really was the description. But yeah, so females will do GG rubbing, and Amy Parrish, I talked to her this summer. I did this great interview, and she basically said, yeah, females will oftentimes prefer mating with other females because it's a guaranteed getting to the finish line. Males will do a thing called penis fencing, or it's basically sword fights. And they do a thing where they rub their genitals on each other's butts. It's, their thing. But these are ways that they diffuse tension. And it's kind of a promiscuous horde. And there's not a lot of violence in bonobos within group. However, this is the deal. Chimpanzees, which again are bonobos used to be called pygmy chimpanzees. They share very, very closely related. Chimpanzees will do patrols around their territory, and if they see other groups of males, they will fight to the death, and oftentimes will kill outside members, like people they do not know. If they see a lone male, forget it. It is not good. Yeah, it's ugly. Well, this is a really cool study. So that was like a lead up to this really neat study, which again, this is still in its early stages. There's not a lot of the bonobos are only found in Democratic Republic of Congo. So, and that area
which is also a war-torn region and politically a lot of unrest, and so they are embattled.
Yeah. I did my honors thesis on coltan mining and gorillas that were affected by, charcoal harvesting and coltan mining and cobalt mining, which is a big problem. But bonobos, they found on multiple, I think it was 92 instances, they observed one group of bonobos coming into contact with another group. And at first they, vocalized and chirped at each other and were kind of showing anger displays, but within a few minutes they were chill, absolutely chill, and hung out and cooperated with each other. I don't know how many copulations took place. I don't know if it devolved into that, but they were cool with each other. And it was almost like, again, researchers are looking at this as maybe a potential to better understand how human societies came together, because obviously we went from being small bands and tribes to state level society. At a certain point, people saw the benefit of, hey, if we stick together, that means protection. That means if you grow barley, I'll grow potatoes. You grow, you know what I mean? We can all have a somewhat balanced diet. That's not how agriculture works. Let's work together. Yeah. So it's really neat.
What was it? Margot Kidder and was it Margot? No, Free to Be You and Me. Who did that one? Was that?
I don't know.
Who did that one? Anyway, that was
it's a song, right?
Yeah, it was a whole TV show. It was a special from my youth that I remember. It was all about everyone being good to each other.
Marlo Thomas.
Thank you very much.
That's it. Yes. No, I remember. Wait, were they holding hands in a field or something? Am I crazy?
They did. And then they had a parachute and they were like running under the parachute. And yes.
I remember that. Yes.
Yes, anyway.
Oh, that's funny. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's
taking it back a couple of days. But
wow.
I feel like, that's the kind of, the friendship, the collaboration, how we can work together. I can be me, you can be you. We can all do this together.
Yeah.
In a friendly way, as opposed to the historical. It's truth, but it's also a bit of mythology of just the absolute aggression of chimpanzees.
Yeah.
Right?
Because there's a lot of cooperation.
Yeah. There has to be a lot of cooperation. So these bonobos.
Yeah.
They're nice to each other. The females are in charge. And what does this mean we should do now?
Yes. So let me talk about let me talk a little bit about the female dominance of bonobos. So I used to be on dating apps, and men would always see, oh, you're a primatologist, and then they want to say, oh, bonobos, and I'd be like, yeah, but you should know one thing: they run the show. And in fact, one of my favorite things that I learned is that moms that are higher up on the ranks of the bonobos will play wing woman to their sons, trying to get them laid by a higher ranking female. I mean, like, it's really, so because for instance,
like the ultimate helicopter parent.
It really, yes.
Oh my gosh. I think there was a movie.
Parent.
Yes. There was. No, there was a movie with Jennifer, what's her name? Lawrence, that just came out like a while ago.
Oh,
when parents hire her to date their son. And I mean, this is basically bonobo culture.
Yes. Yes. Well, no. So Kiki, this is really interesting. So I posted on Facebook about this, I was going to do this interview about bonobos. And I was like, what is your favorite, human matriarchy? And I knew it was kind of a trick question because I knew some would say there's never been one. And I generally disagree because also like, you know, some of the ways they were trying to negate whether there's been a matriarchy, it's because they're like, I think people define a patriarchy or power as a show of force. And there's so many ways to wield power. Like for instance, bonobo females is a great example. They wield power in mate choice, getting their son laid by, you know, Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, look, could you imagine?
Oh my God.
Come here, darling. Darling, come here. I want you to meet my son.
I want you to meet my son. He's a really good boy. He's great.
His name is Bobo. He's Bobo, get over here. Come on, Bobo. Come on.
Okay, if there are any video editors out there right now, I need a supercut of bonobos in this movie because this would be hilarious. I need the trailer supercut. It would be brilliant.
Oh my God. Mom, I don't wanna, Mom. But she's kind of nice. And then Jennifer Lawrence, then it like turns into a heartwarming story about their interspecies mingling. But they ultimately decide it's not right.
No,
and
it's not right. They need to move on and they all need to grow as individuals.
Oh my God. But no, so I posted on Facebook and one of my favorite like pushbacks was because I called I referred to bonobo as being a matriarchy, and then I had one male in particular that was like, well, I wouldn't call them a true matriarchy because there are dominant, or I wouldn't call them female dominant because there are dominant males. And there are.
Just because you have one, like, doesn't mean that you can't have the other, and it doesn't mean
that one is more. So yeah, but this is the deal: the dominant male is based on his mother. It comes down to who his mom is. So it's like at the end of the day, even though there is a dominant male, it still comes down to the mom. So I was just like, I don't know what else to tell you, dude. But yeah, you just look kind of silly. So yeah, I did a bonobo nerd night in LA this summer, and that was But Jennifer Lawrence, I'm working on a science comedy special called Survival of the Filthiest, and I think we need to.
This is yes.
Thank you, Kiki.
So imagine this situation.
But just her beautiful, like that'd be. Oh my God, so good.
Yeah.
That would, I'd watch that movie.
I would. I mean, at least a 2.5-minute trailer. I'd go there. That'd be perfect.
I think it'd be great.
I think one of the things with bonobos and chimpanzees is that, like you mentioned, we just put so many of our own anthropomorphized thoughts, ideals, everything onto them, and we're like dividing them also into these like categories. Bonobos are like this, chimpanzees are like this is the way it works. About, you know, when in reality there's really so much that we still have to learn about their cultures and how they deal in different situations, and you know, can we even protect them in the wild?
I want to.
I want to also. Hey everybody, let's not strip mine. And who needs diamonds from mines and stuff? We can make them ourselves using technology. And forests are nice.
They're so. Look at mine.
Your forest is beautiful, although dark and scary, and probably full of witches.
It's very Joseph Conrad. I feel like it's very Heart of Darkness. Like I know. I wanted to bring a witchy look.
Speaking of Joseph Conrad, let's talk about women. Hunting.
Yes. Babes with spears.
Yes.
Sassy sisters. Yeah. Slaying sloths. It's a lot of alliteration. Yeah. So actually, I'm going to shout out to my good friends, Dr. Kara Achenbach and Dr. Sarah Lacey, two biological anthropologists, wrote this article for Scientific American, but both of Sarah Lacey is a Neanderthal expert, as is Kara. I think she knows a metric crap ton about them too, but she does a lot of exercise, looking at the development of just exercise in women and how women are actually built to be amazing athletes. But this article, it's about, what is it called? Hold on one second. I had it open, and then remember when I closed everything, Kiki?
The
Remember when
theory that men evolved to hunt
Yes.
and women evolved to gather.
So yes, the
wrong.
whole, men the hunter, women the gatherer is a bunch of antiquated BS. And a lot of times we have to remember who did the science, right? So, and sometimes I have to say, who did the science? Because a lot
quote
of times
unquote.
it's a lot of supposing.
Yes.
Yeah, and a lot of research has been done about even female strength. About even the article talks about how women have a lot more of the slow twitch muscles versus the fast twitch muscles that men have. So that means we're great at endurance running. So
Right.
one of the things that when the book that they talk about when it came out, Man the Hunter, and they had all these sort of conferences about it, and really sort of pushing this idea that that men were built to hunt, and that also the rise of hunting led to a lot of sort of adaptations that have carried through, like language, that because they were hunting, that they needed to communicate. So they kind of, were given a round of applause for these men hunting, that there's all these genetic adaptations to this new sort of mode of behavior, really, hunting in groups. And we're sort of discrediting or discounting women and their contribution to these sorts of leaps and bounds for human evolution. And so what we're looking at now is just the way humans are built, and this idea, they got trolled pretty hard from this article, because they also talked about what gender and sex is, because neither are the same and neither are binary, which might upset some folks, but it is what it is. But
and
we
talk about that all the time on the show. So yes, but I'm sorry to hear they were trolled as a response to talking about science. The way
these
things
two
work biologically,
right? These two women are so ballsy and badass that they're fine, but man, oh man, did they get a lot of flack. But yeah, we talk about, the thing is, we hear about testosterone being like the thing for working out and the thing for exercise and fitness. And here they go through all the benefits of estrogen. They talk about, sort of more things that are associated with females, which is, influences breast growth and stimulates milk production. But it also goes through, like, the fine motor skills, and it helps with, making sure our memory is maintained, even if there's improves outcomes of post-traumatic brain injury, enhances growth of development of neurons. And then also, wait, hold on. This is when my old eyes are like, I need readers.
Why am I not wearing glasses right now?
Why am I not? Yes. But it also regulates the immune system. A lot of very, very important things. It also influences men too, because, we probably the watchers of your show know this, or listeners, that estrogen and testosterone are not male and female hormones. We have both at different levels, and those levels vary from individual to individual. Those that identify as women have more estrogen than those that, other folks that identify as female. So and some have more testosterone. But this particular article also touched on the idea that usually in a species, when we look at social systems and reproductive strategies, looking at the size differences between males and females, our sexual dimorphism is usually a big indicator of how their mating systems were. Like, say, for instance, in chimpanzees and gorillas, males are a lot bigger than the females. Gorillas are a great example. They're huge. And so there's a lot of male competition. But in humans, we're pretty darn close. We might think that men are a lot bigger than us, but it's not the case, not at all. And so there are, a lot of arguments to be made that women are just as capable and were doing hunting. There are a lot of societies also, they bring up the fact that the Ainu, which is a culture in Japan, the same time the whole Man the Hunter thing was coming out in the late 60s, there was a Watanabe, I forget his first name, but he was studying the Ainu, and that women were doing tons of hunting and hunting with dogs, and so this research was ignored because it didn't fit their narrative. And that's a problem. And that's why we need diversity in science, more
Yeah,
voices that are not
historical
cis white hetero
narratives
men.
are history is written by the quote unquote winners, but
I
you
would say
know,
losers.
why have you written that thing? What's happening there? But it is that. It's not that what's trying to come out right now is a politically correct feminist agenda, because that's part of, like, what they say here. It's like the trolls are saying that. And that's not what this is. It's trying to balance the research, because historically the questions have been biased, the people doing the research have been biased, the methods have been biased, the samples have been biased. It hasn't taken these things into account. I mean, the idea that to this day men have less of an understanding that they can get breast cancer than women is a disservice. The fact that, like, women and our birth control or our sexual health has been minimized, that's a disservice. Whereas men have Viagra, and there are all sorts of places that we can look at all of these issues. And I don't know. I studied biology as an undergrad, and along the way, it's one of those things that you learn, that it's like the idea of sticking things in categories and boxes, it is so hard, because it doesn't really ever work for everyone.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it does a disservice to so many, fields of science, but also just day-to-day life when you compartmentalize too much. I mean, it helps in just getting through your day sometimes. I get that, but what a sad and frustrating existence, right? To have things in boxes that you can't open your mind and think that, and that's another thing that I think
maybe
a lot of people,
these boxes should have, like, be one box, and maybe they should be more boxes. Like, maybe it should not be a box at all.
It's an octagon.
It's an octopus.
But yeah, no, I was going to say that. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say at this point, we've seen, it was the World Wars, women stepped up. Rosie the Riveter is iconic as a woman stepping into industrial labor. We have now archaeological evidence of female Viking warriors. We have, that people finally looked at and went, oh yeah, that makes more sense. And, there's,
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of times these burial sites, historically males and females were sort of buried the same way. And so it's hard to even tell, like, what grave goods go with who. And they've kind of, because of ancient DNA, have found out, oops, yeah, that's how you discover, okay, these grave goods weren't all for dudes, So that's.
I mean, maybe Leakey was onto something, though. The women, they were patient because we've always been the hunters.
Yes, and go the distance.
And we go the distance.
We go the distance. Yeah, we're patient, and we're not giving up. Yeah. I wanted to point out one cool thing, because this is a great fact, and it brings back to the chimps, is that Jill Preetz, who is a primatologist, dear friend, her site in Senegal, she studies chimpanzees. And, we hear for years that chimpanzees, it's always the males that are doing these group hunts, and, the males doing these hunts. And then it turns out that she actually found at her site that females were not only hunting, they were using sticks. They were using tools to stab bush babies in trees. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, here you've got some great attributes of women to make an excellent hunter. I like the wider pelvis might be great for carrying things, because it's always like a child, but I'm like, I don't know. I think that antelope looks great on her hip.
I swear, every time I've moved or had to pick up heavy things, my hip bones are a great place to set those boxes.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I think there are different body types. There are different effects of hormones at different levels, depending on genetics and depending on these things. But when we stereotype, we limit our ability to be the best that humanity can be.
Yep. Science is only going to be better with more questions, more, you're going to get different answers if you have different questions, right? Like, yeah, I mean, that's, and the same perspectives over and over, like, no, it's boring. Yeah.
No, come on. That's all I want from science. The same people saying the same things over and over again. I mean, that's why I like doing this show every week.
Kiki, that's called religion. Oops, sorry. And there's nothing wrong with religion, but it's static. It stays, right?
Yeah.
Science moves.
Yeah. No, we advance. Yeah. I don't try to put anyone down. I would like to just state things and be okay with the fact that we gain new knowledge. And the textbooks that you went to college with I went to college, they've been rewritten. There are new things in those textbooks now. Everything is advancing. It's amazing.
Unless you're in Florida. Those textbooks, they need a rewrite.
Oh, okay. We're going to stay out of Florida because it's probably going to be underwater soon. But let's talk about Panama.
Panama. I can't sing, but that's my Van Halen. Yes. So as you heard earlier, I love me some Panama. And they just had a coup for their conservation in Panama because there was a Canadian mining company that basically was the president cut a deal allowing them to mine there for, I believe it was 20 years and then an ability to re-up, and they would infuse Panama with like $375 million. But it was going to destroy a big portion of this area and also affect the groundwater. And Panamanians were like, hell no, hell no, hell no. And it was starting to affect the upcoming election cycle. And they're like, no. We're not.
I don't like this.
No, we don't want this. Which is, it's great because like Panamanians, I think this is the first time not the first time. I mean, there's been lots of protests in the past for, kind of more regional issues, but this is a huge showing. And a lot of Panamanians that I've talked to are really heartened by this because they haven't seen a showing like this, right? And so everybody came together. Panama is one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. It's got over 10,000, I think. Hold on, I wrote it down, but it's got like.
But you're not wearing your glasses.
I know,
your mustache.
I know, my mustache. Hold on. Here's my mustache.
Must have glasses and a mustache. Read this number accurately.
With over 10,000 plant species, more than 200 mammal species, and over 900 indigenous bird species. They have a lot of endemic wildlife that is insane. And like I said, I work there. I love that country. And it's a small-ish country, but lots of different ecosystems. You got the canal zone, you got the Darien region, which is thick jungle, and then you got the tropical dry forest, you got cloud forest up in the north in Boquete, and they again a big showing. And so this is kind of a big day for Panama, or big week. Hold on, I also closed that article, so I'm to open it back up because I'm a lady that had to start my computer again.
You did, yes.
It
was a good plan, though.
It was. It needed to happen. I was glitchy. You don't want a glitchy lady. But yeah, it's called and by the way, it's copper mining. So like I talked earlier about like coltan and cobalt mining, which most of the world's, I think it's like 80% of the world's coltan is in Africa, and 80% of that coltan is in DRC. And, Panama has a lot of copper, as does Peru. And now, this is awesome, indigenous folks in Peru and Panama are like, no, we're not doing this. We see what you're doing. And, oops, sorry, that might have been loud.
No, it was like, an added musical note. It was great.
It was. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. It's for excitement. Oh, yeah, I can show you.
Emphasis.
So, I can't really point, but so the region
we
that was
have a map of we have a map of Panama on the screen
Yeah.
right now for people who are watching. So
You see that thing that looks like an elephant's foot going out into the Pacific Ocean? That's where I worked in the white dot that's in the corner on the right. Yes, that's where I worked, that area. But where the mine is that was my world. God, I love it. Oh, I miss it. Oh, what a beautiful place in the world. I was trying to buy property there so I could open a field station.
That'd be awesome.
Still dreaming. But the mine was going to be, if you pan out a little bit, zoom out, and then it's more in the Cologne area. So if you go back towards Panama City, it's on the Atlantic side, in that that area. So, yeah, and that's when you're threatening groundwater, it's not okay. And then there's a lot of also problems going on with the Panama Canal is really, really low right now. So they're dealing with their own stuff with having a limited amount of ships that can go through. Yeah. And I know that even in Nicaragua, there was a proposal to do a Panama Canal type thing, but through Lago, Nicaragua, which I've done field work in on. Yeah. And I think that, I don't know if there's anything happening there. I haven't heard anything.
Fascinating, but that sounds like a poor idea. But
yeah.
Great for trade, but poor for the country and for the ecosystems generally. Oh,
I should note, though, the cool thing about the canal zone is you would think that it messed up the ecosystems because it's like the DMZ, because it's like this weird sort of like liminal space between urban and the canal. It's got this really weird, rich biodiversity in the canal. It's really neat. It's kind of wild. Yeah. It's like the DMZ in North Korea where, there's a lot of interesting biodiversity there because nobody goes there, certain areas. It's just not well traveled by humans. Amanda Plana Panama. Oh, thank you. I'm seeing some of the comments. I've laughed at your comments. I haven't always engaged because I don't want to interrupt, but thank you. Yeah. I love Panama. If you ever get a chance to go, it is absolutely spectacular. And I love that country, and I'm glad that they're shutting down this silly copper mine.
And I think this is one of those, the efforts where we have to applaud the people, indigenous people specifically, people who have historically been just erased and not included in votes, not included in plans, their lands, their livelihoods, their societies bulldozed, erased in the name of banana plantations or whatever else it was that water rights by corporations that are purchasing these things around the country, around the world. And I fully think that it's this local activism that's going to help heal what we've destroyed. But
yeah. And there's been a lot of that, and specifically in Panama with indigenous, the Kuna and the Guna. They actually, I think, sailed a ship to Scotland for one of the climate summits. It was pretty darn cool. Yeah. Yeah. So, they've made really cool strides, and take no guff.
Take no guff. Create the world that we want to create. And I don't know. Yeah, this is cool. Thank you for bringing this story. I appreciate it. It's pretty awesome. People winning.
Yeah.
For once, it's really awesome.
It was going on. I felt like I didn't maybe give it the fair shake that it deserved, but it's been going on for several weeks. It was in October where they first made this ruling, and it kind of put the president in a pretty bad light. Kind of like he was screwing over his people for a good deal, and this was with Canada too. I feel like this is the most impolite thing well, actually, no, Canada's done some terrible things. What am I saying? It's one of the more,
Canada has great PR these days, actually.
They really do.
I love my Canadian audience, though. Hello.
I do too, but just because I don't like some of the things they've done, I don't like a lot of what our country's done. Dear Lord, are you kidding? Oh God, no. But just when it comes to mining or indigenous youth,
I mean, okay, so just little tangent, but for just one moment, like people are like, let's go to space and put people in space and do all this stuff in space. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know about the people living in space and all that kind of stuff. But asteroid mining, finding resources not on our planet, not on rocky bodies that support life. Why go to the bottom of our oceans and destroy ecosystems that have been, left alone where we really need our oceans for survival? Why continue to strip mine? Why continue to mine our planet when we potentially have the technology to go off planet and be able to bring some of those resources back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that would be great. I don't know.
I mean, just like, pew, bomb up,
Yeah.
drop them in.
Mm-hmm. What is
like that
what
Curiosity? What was that? The parachute crane thing they did. But anyway, what is what?
Oh, what does an asteroid do after working out?
What?
Takes a meteor shower. Sorry. No, but I like that idea. I like any idea that involves not destroying a part of the world that, was perfectly fine the way it is. Also, just use solar power. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And also the built to break obsolescence.
Oh,
I'm
done with it. End stage capitalism. You said it earlier. Come on, where's my Maytag man?
My friend was the Maytag man.
What?
Yes, Mark Devine. Oh my God, I knew this guy. I've known him for years. I haven't seen him in a while, but this is a small tangent, but if you ever,
fine. We're doing it.
Yeah, if you've ever been down on your luck, and I am going through that time right now where I'm just like, where is my life going? I am flailing. I am just trying to get by. And I remember I saw him. It was like 2001, 2002. He was I was over, he was roommates with my friend, and he was like laying in bed, or, like watching TV. Like we popped in and said, hey, Mark, how's it going? He's like, I can't find work. I think he was waiting tables or something. He was just like, I don't know what to do. And I'm just like, I don't, I'm like, done. I'm done. I give up. And then like the next day he booked the Maytag man, which was like this huge campaign. Huge. Like he's the freaking, I know. He was only the Maytag man, I think, for 2 years. And now they have this new guy. I don't like that new guy.
But
yeah.
He's not as bad as he's not as good as your friend. That's not
Mark was great, but it was one of those moments where I was like, if it could happen to Mark, you know what I mean? Like down on his luck, like what am I doing? Like eating top ramen. Yeah.
I love that. You're like,
yeah.
He's like, I'm at the end. And then I'm the Maytag man.
Yeah, there you go. Ma'am, can I see your washer?
I'd like to fix your agitator, please. This is This Week in Science. Oh my gosh, we've been having so much fun here. If you've just tuned in or been here for a while, I hope you've realized what show you're watching. I hope that you're enjoying the show. If you want to help us grow, get a friend to subscribe. Tell your friends today all about This Week in Science. Give them links. Send them to our website. Head over there right now. We have our 2024 calendars that Blair has made available through Zazzle. So you can go click on the Zazzle link. There's also a link, I don't know, I'm working on it. The website is defeating me recently. But if you click, and there was a newsletter that actually went out with a link to the Zazzle. So you can buy the 2024 TWIS calendar that Blair has hand-drawn lovingly during her time away with her new bebe. So get your year started with some good planning and with TWIS. Go get it. That's right. And if you want to support us on Patreon, you can also click on the Patreon link at twis.org and choose your level of support, $10 and more a month, and we will thank you by name at the end of the show. And I do all the reading myself as fast as I can without tongue-tying a little bit. It's all your support that allows this to happen. So thank you for your support. All right. I have I have two more stories, but I have one more story. I don't know. We've been on this for a little while, but this story for me is really the thing I want to talk about, which I think it's really awesome. And I think it has impacts across
I like
the
impacts.
world. Yes, across the world of neuroscience and the way our nervous system works. However, the study was not on humans. It was on worms. So, big important implications for people. No, it was worms. But anyway, maybe. We'll see where it goes. 2 studies out this last couple of weeks were published related to the nerve networks in c.elegans, that wonderful worm species that scientists love to poke and prod and change their genomes and do all sorts of things because, of course, it's just like people, but they can't do these things to people. They were looking at these worms. And in looking at these worms, they were considering the traditional view of the nervous system, which is that nerves conduct down their axons. They get messages at their dendrites. They conduct down axons, and the synapses are the places where messages are transferred from neuron to neuron. And there can be modulation of the neuronal signals by other neurons. There can be modulation also, we've learned recently, by local signaling from the astrocytes and other glial cells that surround these nerve cells in the brain. But there's been this kind of understanding that there's still a chemical soup surrounding neurons in the brain. And things happen in the real connections of neurons in the brain that can't be explained by the standard neuronal models. There's something else going on. And so these researchers were like, what's happening? Are neurons just sitting in a soup and sucking up little bits of broth and going, okay, I like that taste of that. I will fire now, or I will not, or whatever. And so is it a network, or is it a soup, or is it both? Why can't it be both? So one of the studies that was just recently published out of MRC Laboratory of Molecular Biology in Cambridge, UK, we're looking at these molecules called neuropeptides. They're little tiny bits of proteins, and they've kind of been just they're helpers. They're just there and they help things along. That's all they do. But what they did with the c.elegans is they changed the way that the worm's nervous system actually expressed the genes for these neuropeptides, particular ones that they were looking at. And they tried to predict how the neurons were going to respond to how different these neuropeptides were released differently. And so they created a map of what they call wireless connections within the worm nervous system. Ooh. The worms don't really have a brain, but they published it in the journal Neuron. And then there's this other research that was also published separately in Nature, and they worked again on c.elegans and were measuring neuronal activity, and they were able to actually reveal how this wireless, so not neuron to neuron connections, not like the wires in our electrical system or our house, but like Wi-Fi, like just stuff that's around the neurons. They were able to start actually measuring how the soup impacted the neurons. So they used optogenetics, which is this really cool technique that I hope, or actually I'm wondering how it might be applied to humans some point in the future, but really it's great for worms and flies and things like that, because if you genetically modify nerves to respond in a particular way when blue light is shined upon them, then they activate or they deactivate, but they're able to trigger activity in certain nerve cells through light to make them send messages. And they were able to see one by one each of the 302 neurons in c.elegans and how the signals propagated from one to the next. And what they found is that just on the basis of how the neurons connect to each other, they could not predict their activity. So what they also were aligning with was this idea that these little tiny molecules, the neuropeptides, are part of the soup, and they're activating the system of these nerves within the worms. And they've been able to try and start putting together a model of basically how all of this works together. And so the whole analogy of like brains are computers and they've got these, networks, blah, 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 that work. It's so simplistic. It's so wrong. We've been saying it's wrong for a very long time, but now it really is even beyond that. So what they say now is that the neuropeptides are equally important and maybe even more diverse than synaptic signaling within the nervous network.
Wow.
An example that was brought up in a Nature write-up of these papers is a particular weight loss treatment, semaglutide, that's fairly common these days that people are taking. It can activate neuropeptide receptors in the body. So if semaglutide is activating neuropeptide receptors, what does that mean for how the neuropeptides are influencing nervous activity? So in addition to the wired components of our brain, we are not and never have been really even thinking about the unwired components. Mm-hmm. These other things that contribute to behavior that we have no idea how they work.
The supporting actors.
Yeah.
The brain broth.
The brain broth. It is.
Yeah.
And so it's, how many neurons are releasing these kinds of other brain broths, and how, neuropeptides and other components, extracellular vesicles that contain little bits and pieces. How are the glial cells releasing stuff, and how is that influencing stuff? If we get things through the blood-brain barrier, how are we impacting brain function and nervous system function? There are so many things that are beyond just the synaptic version of the model of the brain that textbooks are going to be rewritten, I swear.
Yeah, and it's always going to be rewritten, which is kind of exciting. You know what I mean? I love it. It's yeah.
I love it so much. I mean, I started graduate school looking at nervous systems and going, okay, neurons are neurons, and then you have glial cells that do this, and they're just supporting popcorn. They're like the popcorn you put in a package when you mail it so that your stuff doesn't get broken. But now we're finding out that no, they do so much more, and there are even different ways that our neurons interact with the materials, the components that are being released. And I don't know, in terms of how we are, the drugs we give ourselves, antidepressants, weight loss drugs.
Like what kind of drugs?
All the ones you find in your drawer.
Yeah.
When you're looking for the mustaches.
I'm just saying. No, that's
it just
interesting.
Makes it more complicated. It's great.
Yeah. Are we overcomplicating it? Maybe it's a simpler fix.
And so I don't know. The simpler fix, I think, is the interesting perspective here, because like the last story that I was like, I don't know if I want to talk about it. This one is fascinating because we talk all the time about, okay, we got bacteria, so many bacteria in our body that there's probably more bacteria than there are human cells. How do bacterial imbalances? You're crying now. You're like, wait, what? Who am I even?
Just a big slab of bacteria. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Cellular bacterial slab.
Big primordial soup.
Yes. But researchers just looked into what they call the origin and functions of metaorganisms at Kiel University. And they're looking at the freshwater polyp hydra, which is one of our wonderful ancestors. Very hydra. They're like these little sea worm things with little...
They're a windsock in the water. An aquatic windsock.
Yes. Polyp. So anyway, they're like, all right, lots of research looking into microbiome. How does the microbiome get in? How does it influence behavior? We have evidence that imbalances in the gut can influence behavior in animals, can change aspects of neuronal behavior. But it's like, is that really causation? Correlation? What's happening there? They looked at the hydra, published in Current Biology, and in their work, they basically were able to use visualization to see a bacterial-free hydra and how it fed, and then a hydra with bacteria added. Now with bacteria too. And
but wait, there's more.
And they ate better. So bacteria influenced the feeding behavior in real time of this living animal, which is one of our ancestors, and with whom we have lots of neuronal circuits and things in common. So it's a very, I think, interesting point as we start to think about these questions of what is influencing the brain, influencing neurons, not just synaptic aspects, but when the bacteria start to become involved, how do the metabolites of the bacteria then get involved? What kind of neuropeptides are bacteria producing that are getting into our bloodstream that then could potentially influence the brain's immune system, our nervous system, all sorts of aspects of our behavior? I now no longer take any responsibility for anything I do if I have an upset stomach. It's just going to be all the bacteria's fault.
Yeah, they made you do it.
They made me do it.
You know? It wasn't Satan, it was salmonella, and that's fine.
It's okay. It's great. Yes, but this is one of the first studies that has actually taken a very causal perspective in the way that they've put the study together and been able to show that dun, 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 bacteria influence behavior.
Does that make them influencers?
Oh, yes.
Ah.
But it's not on the internet. It's like in the intercostals. No, I don't know.
It's the inner gut. Yeah. my small intestines.
Wasn't that a movie, Inner Space, where they like went? Yes! It was a movie where they like went inside the body.
Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, also with Martin Short. Are you kidding? I fucking love that movie. Excuse my French. I loved Inner Space. Sam Cooke's Cupid was the main song when he discovers that she's preggo, because he goes in and then he sees her reproductive tract and he sees a baby and he's like, oh my God, she's pregnant, man.
What's happening here?
Yeah.
This is not the magic school bus.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
But they didn't know about the bacteria.
Yeah, no.
Oh my. Oh my. We've come to the 10 o'clock hour. We've come to the end of the show.
Is it time for mustaches?
A mustachio? Did you bring your mustaches? Did you bring your quality mustaches, or did you bring your budget mustaches?
This is actually high. This is a highfalutin. This is, I don't know if you can. My brother wore this in Play With Your Balls 1. That was a testicular cancer PSA. There is Play With Your Balls 2, Testament of Glory.
Oh, PSAs. Those are important.
Yeah.
People need to see these things.
Yeah, Play With Your Balls 1. Actually, my brother wore this in Play With Your Balls 2, I believe, because that was one he wasn't in it. My ex-fiance's in it, so I want to redo it because we don't need him in there. But yes, it was
do over.
But yes, because I think because of Movember, they do the mustache. So I did a spoof on congrats on growing a great facial flora, but now it's time to find alternative ways to use that mustache. And it was very ridiculous, but also make sure you take care of your twins, your DNA satchels,
You only
get to know them.
two.
You only get two.
Some people
I have
only
friends
get
with
one.
none.
Some people have none.
Yeah.
Yes. If you've got them, I mean, I don't know if you should flaunt them, but take care of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't
my
forget
God.
about them.
No. Play With Your Balls 2 was actually quite good. And I might actually have to just throw it up online. It's tomorrow is November 30th. It's the last day. Because I propose that the next logical step is Mustache Ride December, which I know. I'm a child. You might have to take that out. I'm a 12-year-old boy in a 44-year-old woman's body. I'm sorry.
I'm not sorry. I'm laughing.
But I have mustaches.
But you did bring your mustache, even though it doesn't seem to want to stick.
No, I need spearmint gum, but it won't open. It won't open. It's okay. I'm going to get you a mustache for Christmas. Or Festivus or whatever.
All I want from Krampus is a new mustache. A new mustache. A new
Raisin
mustache.
just woke up for that. Raisin, are you excited? Do you want a mustache, Raisin?
All we want from Krampus is a new mustache. Maybe, baby, we got a dash.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm just going to grow mine out. Next time you see me, I'll have a full-on stash.
It'll be amazing.
That'd be great. Fantastic.
That one, though,
Right,
the one
Raisin?
you have, it's very, like, last time when you found one, it was very dark, didn't match your hair color. This one is very...
Oh, yeah. Did I wear it
matches.
as an eyebrow? I felt like I did.
You did, yes.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. But I don't know where that mustache went. I used it for something. I think I used it.
It's been a
few
couple
days later.
weeks. I mean,
know.
there's been time to take
Raisin's licking. Raisin's licking her lip as if she's eaten it, and I don't want to.
Don't go looking for that.
What do you do with your mustaches? I have to ask you.
I'm a googly eye person.
Oh, I got some
Yeah.
of those.
Yeah, so I'm more
Yeah.
a googly eye person than a mustache person, and I'm more likely to put googly eyes on just about everything. I laughed at myself the other day because I was putting on my shoes and looked at the bottom of my shoes, and there were two little googly eyes looking at me from the bottom of my foot. So, yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, googly
Oh my
eyes are...
God.
I have this whole goal. I have these big hedges in my backyard, and I want to grow them out like weird Mr. Potato Heads, Mrs. Potato Heads with like weird hair, and put googly
Giant.
eyes and like giant googly eyes and weird noses on all of them. So like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
I don't know.
I'm a big fan.
I told my dad about this, and he's like, "You have a beautiful backyard. It's traditional. Why would you want to do this?" And I'm like, "Because it's traditional, and I know I need more googly eyes and Mr. Potato Head noses. Come on."
That's so funny. Oh my God.
Yeah, so
What?
at some point there will be like I don't know, a video unveiling of my my backyard hedge characters.
I would love to see that. Can I come and put mustaches on them? I want to put mustaches on your hedges. That's not a
Yes,
euphemism.
please.
I want
They
to
have to be
come and
large. They have to be large.
we'll do different shaped ones. We'll do,
Yes.
maybe mutton chops on one of them, with yeah, like some Lemmy type Motorhead thing going on.
I can't wait till you come and help me trim my hedges for the holidays.
This week on This Week in Science, Natalia is trimming Kiki's hedges. Oh my God. And strategically putting mustaches all over them. Just so many.
So many. Why
does that
one have so many mustaches? I did it. Just needed them.
Natalia was here. Hold on.
Don't ask questions.
Raisin, Fado wants to see Raisin, and I wanted to give them what they want. But Raisin, you're so far from me. She's 3 feet from me. But hold on, Raisin, can I make
the people the gelatinous
what they want?
Pug.
Oh, the gelatinous sack of beans and sand. Hold on, where Raisin? There's also puppets. I'm stepping over puppets.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, she's so difficult. Raisin, come here.
No. This is.
Don't do this way.
There's no.
Oh my God.
There's no
now
food.
I'm sitting on my.
Your hair is like a wig for your dog right now.
I can't hear you, but the hair. She looks like she wants to talk to your manager. I think she wants to talk to your manager.
Hello, my name is Karasin.
So years ago when I was on Star Talk, I had to do a bit where it's so funny. My friend and I wrote the same bit, but we wanted. Hi, baby girl. I wanted to make Neil look like Katy Perry because he interviews Katy Perry, and then Sashir Zameda was going to look like Neil. But I bought a Katy Perry at that point. She had a blonde pixie hair. There you go, Raisin. And I bought him a wig, lipstick. He had like little shoes that matched her. And so he wore it, and I still have it. And I did a photo shoot with Raisin wearing this blonde pixie wig. It's pretty spectacular. I'll have to send you it. Say hi, Raisin. Say hi to the people. This is a sack of beans and sand.
She's just slipping through your arms.
Oh, she doesn't. She
has no support structure.
This is a boneless pug.
She's
pug
so cute.
Has no bones. It has no agency. Reason. Snarf, snarf, snarf. She's really quite annoying when she does the dead weight. It's very painful because she's heavy. She's like, she's a very solid 17 pounds. She speaks and farts. That's her language.
Raisin conversation.
Hi, bud. We had a neighbor that thought she was growling, and we're like, no, that's just her breathing.
How could anyone think that was a growl? That is not a growl. No.
She was a special neighbor. She was, she was a conspiracy theorist, and that was her conspiracy.
Oh my goodness. I believe that pugs don't actually just have a breathing problem. They're growling at everyone because they're not actually friendly. They don't want your pets. They don't want you to love them. Look at us.
Look how many legs she has.
Are there like 6 legs there? What's happening?
I don't know. I think I'm outnumbered. I'm outnumbered by legs. I call her Salvador Doggy because she has a fat tube-like body, but then these long spin. Look at this leg. Right here, there's the leg. So long.
And then it's just gonna drop.
Reason, why are you so have agency, have structure. Look at the camera. Tell people you love them.
Stare into the camera.
Ow. That was painful, Raisin. Okay, I'm gonna. Oh, God, look at this creature. It's so uncomfortable.
Oh my God. All right.
Okay.
You are uncomfortable. Thank you for joining the show. I think we have come to the end of it.
Wait, where's your cat? No, I'm kidding.
I don't know where she is. She's off doing her cat things right now. Tonight is not a night of me being bothered. I don't know why. She escaped out the back door earlier, and so she had a little adventure. And I think she's feeling her oats. She's like,
feeling her oats in the hedges.
I'm just really glad. Yeah, in the hedges. I'm just glad you didn't get eaten by a coyote. So,
oh God, yeah.
Get back inside.
Cappy.
Oh dear. That coyote would not appreciate the capybara fur.
Oh.
But she's here. She's fine.
Good.
But she's avoiding me. I don't know. She's off somewhere being warm and comfortable, as cats do.
I don't know what that means or feels like.
You're like, I'm really uncomfortable. My pug just hurt me, and I am cold because
my soul is dark and empty.
Because I'm in the dark jungle.
I know.
It's cold at night.
It really does look like I'm in some weird Heart of Darkness shit. What's going on? I know. I need to work on my background. Like, there's that yellow thing is a banana
your background?
suit.
You mean like your origin story, or no?
You don't want to know about that. That's definitely a dark one. But there's a banana suit back there.
I've seen pictures. Yes. Of the banana suit.
Right. Well, thank you so much for having me. Oh, yes.
You're welcome. What are the places, once again, where people may find you and follow you and, be influenced by your magnificence?
Well, the bowels of the jungle, of course, but on Twitter or X or whatever the heck we call it, and Instagram, it's at Natalia13 Reagan, and then TikTok at Behold Natalia. And I am taking people on trips. So if you want to come to the Galapagos or Madagascar, there's still spots available for Madagascar. And I think there might be one spot opening up in Galapagos. And it's going to be it's an amazing group of people, a lot of animal people, experts and whatnot. So, that's what I got going on. I have a ton of comedy shows coming up, lots of comedy shows. So follow me and I'll be posting.
And if you're in the LA area, Natalia, you are part of a particular comedy competition that.
I just did that. Did
you do it?
I did not. Yeah, I did it. I did not go on to the. It was fine, but it was one of those things where it's a bringer show. So, and it was the night before Thanksgiving. I was like, friends, you want to? No, nobody wants to. Okay, that's fine.
Not happening.
No, so I did not advance. That's okay. That's okay. My own mom was like, no, I'm not going. But I do shows. I'm doing a variety show next week called Varietyville. That is at the Broadwater. I'm also doing opening for Hal Sparks tomorrow night at Flappers. I'm doing a show called Horror Nerd on December 15th at the Improv Lab, where you get to dress like your favorite horror star. Awesome. So it's going to be so much fun. Come check it out.
Who are you going to be? Can you give us an inside scoop? Have you decided?
I might. It's tough. I'm fluctuating between Carrie, as in the Carrie, and Frankenfurter.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
More comedic, obviously.
Yeah, but Carrie has some good ones. Like, you got to come on stage and just say, does anyone have a tampon? Like stuff like that really,
I guess that's an interesting point. Like, what material do you have when you are a different character? Like, who? Yeah. What are the lines? What can you say that, like, for Frankenfurter? Like, what are the things that weren't already said in the movie that are? Yeah. So how can you do that?
Yeah. With Frankenfurter, I do a bit about trans and being and animals. If you have a problem with drag queens, especially if you have a problem with drag queens, and you really need to take it up with peacocks and the male mandrill and all these animals in nature that are like the most garish, brightly colored freak shows. And I love them, but like, come on now. They are, and then the females
drag
are
queens.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, look at a
Yeah.
peacock. Are you kidding? Look at a peahen. It's just like yawn, you know? So, yeah, whatever. But
oh, he's a hot dog.
Yeah. I know.
Frankenfurter.
It's the only song I can do karaoke is Sweet Transvestite. And I love
that movie and that song. And all right.
Oof. Oof.
Oh my gosh. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us for another episode. Again, Natalia, thank you so much for joining me for another episode. I was so glad that you were able to come back because once again, so much fun. And tonight we got into some, more real stuff, but I think we're, at the point where we can dig and we can get into things. And it's really very, it's wonderful. So thank you. I appreciate it. Everyone, though, you know that I need to do shout outs right now, and I need to tell y'all who I'm thankful for. So I am thankful for all of you who are here in the chat room and who have been watching during this live broadcast. Thank you to all of you who are in the Discord, who are in YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And I do hope that you will always be here with your comments because they do influence us as we watch. Even if we don't always respond to what you're saying, we are watching. Fada, thank you so much for your help with show notes and social media. And Gord Arnlore, thank you for helping to keep things real in those chat rooms. Identity 4, thank you for recording the show. And Rachel, thank you for your editing. And finally, thank you, as always, to our Patreon sponsors. I must thank Arthur Kepler, Craig Potts, Murray Gertz, Teresa Smith, Richard Badge, Bob Colescott, Ken Northcote, Rick Loveman, George Corris, Pierre Velazarb, John Ratnaswamy, Carl Kornfeld, Chris Wozniak, Vegard Shefstad, Donathan Stiles, a.k.a. Don Stylo, Ali Coffin, Reagan, Shoe Brew, Sarah Forfar, Don Mundus, P.I.G., Stephen Alberon, Daryl Myshak, Stu Pollock, Andrew Swanson, Fredis104, Sky Luke, Paul Ronovic, Kevin Reardon, Noodles Jack, Brian Carrington, David E. Youngblood, Sean Clarence Lamb, John McKee, Greg Riley, Mark Hessenflow, Steve Leisman, a.k.a. Z. McKen, Hayes, Howard Tan, Christopher Rappin, Richard Brendan Minish, Johnny Gridley, Remy Day, G. Burton Lattimore, Flying Out, Christopher Dreyer, Artyom, Greg Briggs, John Atwood, Gritty Garcia, Dave Wilkinson, Rodney Lewis, Paul, Rick Ramus, Philip Shane, Kurt Larson, Craig Landon, Sue Doster, Jason Olds, Dave Neighbor, Eric Knapp, E.O., Kevin, Adam Mishkon, Kevin Parashan, Aaron Luthen, Steve DeBell, Bob Calder, Marjorie, Paul D. Disney, David Simmerly, Patrick Parkeraro, and Tony Steele. Thank you for all of your support on Patreon. Without you, I really wouldn't still be doing this show. So thank you. And if any one of you want me to read your name at the end of the show, make sure you head over to twis.org and click that Patreon link. On next week's show, our guest host is going to be the incredible Tom Merritt from DTNS and Sword and Laser. So I hope you don't miss it because we might get a little techie. We might be bringing all of the robot news next week. I don't know. We will be back on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Time, broadcasting live from our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch channels. You can go to twis.org/live to get links to all of those. Especially if you want to listen to us as a podcast, this will be edited. You can find us wherever podcasts are found. Look for This Week in Science. Get your friends to subscribe too. For more information on anything that you have found here interesting, there will be show notes, links to stories, and our website is twis.org. And it'll be like, boom, oh, sign up for our newsletter. Please sign up for our newsletter because we might send one day. You can contact us directly. I'm Kirsten at thisweekinscience.com. Justin is at twistminion@gmail.com. Blair at blairbaz@twist.org. Natalia, do you want emails from any of these people?
Sure, if you want. Natalia13. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're cool. Natalia13Reagan at gmail.com.
Great. Make sure you put TWIS in the subject line. So, of course, your email doesn't get spam filtered into that weird, wacky cloacal kiss between the bats with the really big genitalia. We're not going there again. I mean, we might, but who knows?
My God.
Ping us on social media at TWIS Science is what this show is. I'm usually at Dr. Kiki. I might be at the Dr. Kiki. There's also Blair's Menagerie and Jackson Fly. And as Natalia was telling you earlier, hers as well. We love your feedback. If there's a topic or any guests that you want us to have on the show, let us know. We'll be back again next week, and we hope you'll join us for more great science news. And of course, if you learned anything from the show, remember, it's all in your head. And Natalia froze right at the end.
I'm so frozen. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
This week in science. This week in science. This week in science. This week in science, it's the end of the world. So I'm setting up shop, got my banner unfurled. It says the scientist is in, I'm gonna sell my advice. Show them how to stop the robots with a simple device. I'll reverse global warming with a wave of my hand. And all it'll cost you is a couple of grand. 'Cause this week's science is coming your way. So everybody listen to what I say. I use the scientific method for all that it's worth. And I'll broadcast my opinion all over the earth. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 I've got one disclaimer and it shouldn't be news. That what I say may not represent your views, but I've done the calculations and I've got a plan.
Hello.
Woo! It did freeze on a very nice laughy smile.
I know.
Frame.
I don't know what
It's
happened.
wonderful.
Oh my God. I was like, oh no. Are you kidding?
But it was perfect timing. It was the end of the show. It was perfect.
I know. It really did kind of go off with a bang or whatever. We went, oh, did you go? Is it black? Is that normal?
It's not black for me yet. No, everyone.
dear.
We are still in the after show. Oh, now she's black. She's gone away. There she's back.
What's oh. What is happening? Okay.
I don't know. Your internet decided that it wanted to do its own thing.
Hold on. I got this new, I think I told you, this thing that looks like it's in a Pixar movie. It looks like Eevee or something from, or I don't even know. AT&T, I think they messed with me. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to close some tabs. Is that going to help? I don't know what happens.
Close the tabs. Especially like again and again and again. I'm going to tell people this is the thing. Google Chrome steals all your power.
It's terrible.
And it's an age-old problem that they've never fixed. But, you know, 'tis what 'tis.
Okay. Well,
But you're here
fun.
now.
Yeah,
That
I'm
was
here.
fun.
Yeah.
Not
Reason.
glitchy. You're back.
Good. Sweet.
Tabs.
Hello.
Oh,
Tab
Grumpy-
suspender.
is that like a pair of suspenders? Or I'm
Tab
guessing it's
suspender.
is it a plugin or an app?
I don't know what to do. How do I make cookies go away? Is that a cookie thing? What's happening? Chill out, computer. I need to get a new computer. It's also very, very, very old. It's like hanging on by a thread.
This is one of those things. Now that we're in this world where everyone has to be online and we do these wonderful things, which are very fun, you also have to be able to afford a computer that has a video card that's separate from the graphics card is separate from the main card, and then you got its own thing. And
The RAM's got to be big, and then yeah.
I mean, isn't that the case with RAMs usually?
They're very large animals, you know.
Yes.
They're very horny ungulates. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm really sorry.
But they are not necessarily as persistently aggressive as female fruit flies, apparently.
I feel very much in tune with female fruit flies. I never thought I would feel so. I don't know, with such a kinship, really, with
Some days yes.
persistently.
Yeah, some days yes, some days no. Some days my family goes, "Who are you? You are persistently
You are a
aggressive."
persistent fruit fly. you fruit
My
fly.
husband my husband who loves me so much says, "My dear darling, Kiki, why are you so persistently aggressive?" And I look at him and I say, "Don't make me punch you in the forehead."
Yes. I'll show you persistently aggressive.
You want to see some persistent aggression? Well, you're going to have to hang out here all day. It's going to be persistent. It's going there.
My anger is, if anything, persistent. I mean, it really is. No. Yeah. No, I'm pretty chill. But
I've seen your anger on this show. I mean, I was going to say, Natalia, I mean, we should, if you need somebody to talk to about the anger you feel, like that aggression, like, yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I'm surprised you didn't go running the other way.
It depends on if you're wearing a mustache or not.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
If you've been able to find your mustaches, then fine. If not, then I know that you have no vessel to pour the aggression into.
I could fit so many aggressions in this mustache.
It's like my
goddamn.
It's your mustache familiar. You're gonna store your aggression in it.
Oh, my familiar. Oh my god. I put all my aggression in my mustache. That's why it's always up for a fight. Oh my god. It's kind of got its dukes up. It already kind of like has that swirl, that sort of,
it's that mustache too. It is the swirly.
Yeah, I got this, and it's strawberry blonde, which it would match you, Kiki. It would match both of us. Oh,
it matches you. No, the coloration is like, from what I'm seeing here on the screen, it matches you quite well. It's nice.
Great. And my boyfriend just got home, so just in time for me to go, look, honey, I've got a mustache.
And he's so surprised.
He's absolutely
shocked.
Unfazed.
He's unhinged with his shock.
Blown away is an understatement.
Where did you find that?
Probably underneath a cabinet. I mean, it's disgusting how many. Jeff, is it correct that I used to walk around finding mustaches throughout our house?
Oh, they're
everywhere.
They're always stuck to what? They're always stuck to his butt. That's a whole nother. Yeah, no, but he's found them on his shoe, and I'm just like, oh, give that to me. That's my mustache. Yeah. So. Yeah, this is.
Does he miss his beard and mustache?
No, he doesn't. Even the one that he shaved off yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, he was tired of it. He had hit the threshold. Although
Did he do it for Movember? Was it like specific?
No,
no,
just sheer laziness. Not wanting to shave, which I like him. He looks great with a beard, but yeah, I think he gets to a point where it's itchy and annoying. But this is one of the biggest beards I had seen on him, and it was when he shaved it. It was quite robust. The wad of fur
what
I had.
do? You can't just shave that. Like, what do? You go through with scissors first and then shave, or do you have to have like special attachments to reduce the amount of hair and like slowly get?
We're
like,
talking about shaving your beard.
How do you do that?
You used a trimmer first, right? Yeah. He trimmed it first, but he doesn't shave it all. I've never seen his face totally shorn. I've never seen. He always has a shadow, a 5 or 7 p.m. shadow.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen him fully. Does your husband have a fully shaved?
Yeah, he shaves every day.
Wow.
He does a little. Like he'll occasionally get it a little bit longer, but he's a regular shearer
of the facial coif.
Yes. I had my dad when I was young. He grew a mustache, the giant lip caterpillar, and that's just I knew him for so long with this mustache.
The lip hat. Yeah.
Yes. And one day he shaved it off.
Oh no.
And I looked at him and I started crying. And I said, I don't even know you anymore. And I ran away. I think I was like 7 or 8.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh man. Oh. Sisters.
It's just such, it's this weird memory in my brain, and now I'm like, oh, I probably made my dad feel so bad that he shaved his mustache. But like,
So what does he have now? Does he have a mustache now? Do you know him now? Does he know who he is now? Know who he is.
Do you know him now? Yes. Yeah, but he goes back and forth between having and not having mustaches. It is, yeah. But he's never had the full beard thing. Well, no, he tried to have a beard thing for a while. It was more like the mustache goatee.
Was he sparse?
No. I was like, I don't like that one, Dad. You can get rid of that. That's fine. Yeah. But
my dad's got a goatee, which is like a hip thing to have for a dad, I think, in some ways, where I'm just like, I don't understand. But my dad was a very bearded human growing up, and I laughed when he shaved. Because I was never seen his upper lip before, and I was like,
well,
what
that was
the hell
the same
is that?
thing, but you laughed. Yeah. I cried and ran away.
Jeff, to be honest, Jeff did that when he was 4. His dad, were you 4 when your dad shaved? He was 4 and his dad shaved off he'd never seen his dad without facial hair. And he was 4 and he started crying.
Who are you?
Yeah, it's traumatic.
I don't understand.
I wonder if I should try to do the same thing to my child if I have one, that I just walk in one day with a mustache and just see what happens. The reverse. Just walk in.
What? I like it. Let's try it. It's a good experiment. I think it's great.
There you go. I think I'm going to be a great parent.
Oh, you're going to be fabulous. It's wonderful. Oh my God. My son, he used to get, I go without a lot of makeup generally. Yeah. Little blush or mascara or whatever, but I'm, generally light on stuff. But occasionally I'm like, I'm going to make dramatic eyes. I'm going to go out and go and, I used to actually get dressed up and go out places with people. Before time. But it was one of those nights going out with a friend, and I'd put on dark eyeliner and a smoky eye and had like a nice red, I did it up and I thought I looked pretty good. And my son Kai looked at me and he's like, Mommy, I don't like it when you do that. Don't do this anymore. Why'd you do that to your face?
Wow.
I was like, you don't think it looks nice? No.
Not on Mom. Oh,
no, Mom.
That's so sweet. Yeah. But also no, I'm going to do what I want.
Yes.
You'll be fine. Fine.
You're going to live through this, and you can accept me being multitudes. I can put makeup on. I can do different things. I can dress up different ways. And hello, this is how a person is.
You can wear mustaches.
And googly eyes.
You can Google. Have you done just walked out with a third eye or something and just...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I
feel
I have.
Yeah.
Many times. Oh, I've tried. Yeah. there are many adventures. Right now I've got like throughout my house, I have I didn't do it, but my friends came to visit and they hid little tiny hands all over my house.
Oh, I like those. I have some of those. Like in this drawer.
Yeah, you can like
Oh.
fit one on your fingertip and like you can play like you have multiple hands and it's very fun. But once upon a time, there,
Sorry,
wait,
found
that's a
a
kazoo. Your drawers are fun.
There are a bunch of Lake Turkana boy skulls,
Ooh,
miniature
that's cool.
ones. Yeah,
Did you
but
print
yeah,
those?
no, we did, but they didn't come out very good. They're hard. Oh, that came off pretty good, but yeah,
I'm trying to break them off like ice cubes.
yeah. Basically, it's actually it's a small version of this one. So it's this the little one.
Those are so cool.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
love it.
They're pretty fun. They're ridiculous.
I like.
You know what they need
ridiculosity.
though? They need googly eyes.
Mustaches and googly
No.
eyes.
I feel like I actually have some googly eyes. I have some little guys I'm gonna probably put in this and send it to you. So Kiki can have a Nariokotomi googly eye homo ergaster.
We'd love that with the
Yay.
googly eyes.
Yeah.
I've done that with our Halloween decorations. Taken, skulls and things and put big googly eyes where the eyes are supposed to be. And
Aww.
I have all sorts of visions of decorations that need to occur, and usually they involve googly eyes.
Googly eyes and tiny. Now you could do the tiny hands too, like little tiny hands coming out. Have you seen I had pet chickens during COVID, like a weirdo.
Oh yes, you
and,
showed. You showed us those beautiful chickens that you fell in love with.
My sweet hens. Oh,
that
my girls.
Snuggled you. Ugh,
they were my cuddle nugs. But during that time, like 2020, it was really like popular, this piece of like wire that you could put around your chickens, and it had the little tiny hands on it. So it looks like they were walking around with these hands. I didn't have it, but everyone's like, you need to get these. And yeah, I know. I'm all about ridiculous animal get-ups.
My other favorite are the squirrel feeders, which are like little animal heads. And so
Yes.
squirrels go in to eat like the nuts or the peanut butter or whatever. And then they're like suddenly a unicorn or a dinosaur or.
I love that. I'm a big fan of the squirrels.
Sorry. Yes, I am feeding the animals because it's funny.
It's okay. I mean, there's certain, yeah. I had a friend that befriended ravens, but she did it like the very ethical, like what can you give raven? Cause they're already going to find, right? Because they live in urban environments. And
Not
it was
crows,
like
but ravens.
These are specific ravens. Yeah.
Wow.
I actually have 2 ravens that live outside of my house that are, I love them so much. And they come by and they have different like dialects too, because they do that like that chatter to each other. My friend was visiting from up north and he goes, the ravens here have such a different dialects than ours up north.
Oh, I love that.
I know, right? I know. It was so cool. And I love it. The ravens
so
broken.
This is like right now you're speaking my language because I did bird studies and
what do you study? Which bird?
So it was bird, lots of different birds, but I started with scrub jays and magpies, and the scrub jays had and the magpies also, like in the Central Valley of California, like people are like, magpies, they're such a pest, blah blah blah, and all they ever do is go wah, wah, and the scrub jays are like wah, wah, and they do their alarm calls, and they're like, that's what people recognize,
right?
Because that's what's loud and that's what they hear. But when they were in the lab and I got to be in there giving them food, they were doing these little tiny warbles. He's like, and those little chips, and like, they have there is a dialect, there's a language, there is stuff that we don't understand, and they had this little whispering, like the thing that I loved the most was the little like real quiet talk that was like the just person to person or bird to bird, right? know.
I
And they
love
just,
that.
and it was the most beautiful thing to listen to. And that's the thing that people don't notice. And so the number of calls that a
Right.
crow gives out when you put food on your lawn to call the other birds in. Is it 4 calls? Is it three calls? And then there's a chuck chuck sound that the crows do. And there's like, I don't know.
There's a language. Yeah.
And these are intelligent social animals.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love watching the ravens. I mean, they're. Oh my God, Cappy. Come here, Fuzz Nugget. What is he doing?
She was clawing
She?
my
Sorry.
couch.
She's being a jerk. Don't do it.
She's like, "Hi, I'm here. Pay attention to me. I'm gonna
Look
claw
at
the
me.
couch." Oh, yeah.
I didn't
Okay,
get
go
eaten
ahead.
by a coyote. Give me love.
Tell me about what Montreal. What were you gonna say?
Oh.
You wanna
Oh
say
no.
something?
Just the chatter between the ravens is so lovely. And then there's like, a murder of crows that comes and harasses them, and it's, oh my goodness, who is this Muffin? You're so sweet.
Yeah,
She's so pretty.
I love her. I think she's got such pretty coloration.
Oh my God, she's such a little. Oh, look at her. You're a little, huntress.
Oh, she is. She likes to hunt the things. That's why I have to play with fake birds at the end of strings with her in the house, so that she won't go kill the birds outside. But I don't let her outside anyway. Yeah, hi, sweetie.
But she gets out. She sneaks out.
Yeah, I don't let her out. I don't let the cats out. I'm not that kind of a cat. I'm not an outside cat mom.
My mom's keeping her cats in too, finally, because for years as a kid, but 2 billion birds a year.
I know.
As a bird person, that must made you so sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I grew up out in the country, like on agricultural land. Like my family house is like in the middle of farmland. And so we had mousers and we had cats that would come and go, and some of them liked being in the house, other ones didn't. And so it was always just like cats were outside cats. That's just the way it was. But I don't know. I think, living in a city and living in an urban space, it's just a completely different prospect. But
right. Yeah.
Save the birds.
Save the birds. Yeah. And we have coyotes in my mom's neighborhood pretty bad. So
yeah.
And my mom has one very fat cat named Weenus.
That would be such a snack.
She's 25 pounds. She's huge.
That cat's not running away fast enough.
No. Oh. Wait, you have a neighborhood bald eagle? That's amazing.
Yeah, Eric Knapp lives in Alaska. And so
crap. That's
Eric has some interesting.
That's great.
Yeah, interesting wildlife and ecosystem stuff. But I think I love Robert Varner says Italian birds have the best dialects.
Vaffanculo, mica di mare.
I know. I can't. I'm not going to say anything Italian because all I know are curse words.
I just actually told you off in Italian.
I know. I heard it. I know.
Sorry. That's all I know. My high school boyfriend's mom was Sicilian, so, I learned from the best.
And of course, I'm like, oh, I understood what you just said. Okay, great. Yeah. I don't know much Italian, but I know that.
One of them was it Minchio de Mare? It was like Dick of the Sea. And I was like, am I calling somebody a sea cucumber?
A sea cucumber?
Right? Yeah. Right?
Exactly.
I kind of like or a nudibranch. I mean, they're
nudibranchs.
Yeah.
The nudibranchs with all their fancy colors and fluorescence.
Rhinophores, man.
Yeah.
I did a series called Sending Nudes, and it was sending nudibranchs and sending newts. So I did different newts and different nudibranchs.
You did. I remember that. That is a good series.
Yeah. And then the dick pics. Yeah.
Okay. I was banned from, so I like watching DJs on Twitch. I'm broadcasting to Twitch right now, but I
Yeah.
really enjoy, like, especially during the pandemic, it became a source of, like, I couldn't go out to clubs and listen to DJs anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They started broadcasting on Twitch, and like one of my favorite DJs started watching. I was like, yeah, okay, I can get in the chat and I can start talking and to people and talk to, oh, this be awesome. And of course, within 2 minutes, I'm talking about dicks and I got banned from the channel.
Oh my God.
And I had to get my friends who were there also. I was like, can you
Back
tell
me up.
them that's an animal? And like, I'm not being rude. Like, this is... It was...
This is why you need educated censors that are like, oh, no, that's just a small-bodied ungulate found in sub-Saharan Africa. She's fine. She's cool.
Exactly. I have to say,
Oh
I'm
my
probably
God.
the only person who's ever been banned from Twitch for talking about, a small.
Or are we going to get banned from
sub-Saharan
Twitch?
Africa?
Talking
No.
about nudes and dicks?
No. Maybe I will.
Maybe. I mean, it was worth
the
it.
right button. It was worth it.
Oh my God. Yeah, that video, I can't monetize anything on Instagram. I think I told you because of even like lightly talking about reproduction. Nope.
No.
No. Yeah. So
I
I
think
just
that's.
have to sell feet pictures.
And I think that's one of the issues with media, right? Today, where we're supposed to, be content creators and educators and like, edutubers or edu-talkers or whatever it is these days. But there's nobody who's determining the difference between this show and the way we talk about science versus Joe Rogan and what he did, or some of the other people who conspiracy theory stuff and like and understanding appreciatively that you've done Bigfoot shows and everything, of course, but
I was a skeptic.
Right, but the skeptic point is to come at stuff from an evidentiary basis, to not cherry pick your data, to try and look at things from, not the I have an open mind perspective, but like, what do we really know? And like, where can we go from here kind of ideal. And can we only talk about robot hands that are 3D printed? Can we only talk about technology? Can we only talk about, stem cells in the realm of therapeutic uses as opposed to reproductive uses? Can we only talk about animals? Why can't I talk about what is it with the slugs where it's
Hermaphroditic species? No.
The insemination where they like stick themselves in their own heads with the like
I don't know
traumatic
the traumatic insemination. Yeah.
Traumatic insemination.
Bed bugs, right?
But and how can we really educate or make people curious about the breadth and depth of variety in our world and biology and the universe if the way that we talk about stuff is considered the same as people talking about porn or hot tub girls on Twitch or whatever it happens to be, like how the judgmental aspect is ridiculous.
Yeah. I even got into my mom is incredibly progressive and great, but she hates that I've done anything about the clitoris, right? Like I have a new sticker because I have the louder the call, the smaller the ball sticker, but I have a new sticker that says spider monkeys are lit with a hypertrophied clit, which is an animal fact. spider monkeys have a hypertrophied clitoris. My mom's like, oh, you and your clitoris stuff. Like, what is the point? I said, because people should know about this. She's like, yeah, medical professionals and doctors or whatever.
No.
And I was like, everybody should know about this.
Yeah. Everybody knows about
like everybody, the wiener and yeah.
Yes.
We know where that is. We know what it does. We know, but yeah, but yeah, sex ed is a real touchy one because even like
It's
when I
super touchy.
Yeah. When I talk about even
Mhm.
like, so I do a lot of shows, comedy shows, and I talk about not from my own sex life. I don't bring up my own sex life, but I talk about the sex lives of buffalo and penguins and bonobos and how that might apply to humans. But it's not about me like giving blowjobs and stuff, but I might mention, if like there is oral copulation with penguins or whatever, and
But
that
there are certain things that are common to human, like copulatory practices and enjoyments that, you can talk about. It doesn't have to be you, but it's commonly understood.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the thing is, does it, so I have, my question is like, when I get asked, do you have any clean comedy? Of course, like, well, because I asked my agent, I was like, what I do clean enough, for some of the stuff? And she goes, you're talking about animals, so it's okay. You know what I mean? Like in some cases, right? But it's tough because I don't want to offend. I don't want to, get myself in a pickle, but at the same time, I also like to push the envelope because I'm a little
pickle.
Yeah.
Nice crunchy dill. Yeah.
Vlasic. Is our Vlasic dill pickle? I don't even know.
No, but I feel the same way. Like I've been doing this show for a very long time, and I always I want to talk about subjects and I want to put them out there. And there's this weird like reticence. And I'm like, is this like my prudishness? Is it my concern for how people are going to accept it or not accept it? Or is like, so it is always an interesting thing to talk about things that are related to animal reproduction or even human reproduction.
Yeah.
But the way I always, and I always approach it is that this is science. This is a scientific study, and I am sharing this information, albeit sometimes in a humorous way, but I try to be real. We'll go serious for a second.
Yep.
Then the humor hits and the ha ha ha, how funny about these words. And then we go back to the real and like,
yeah.
So I try and mix it in, but it's always this weird place.
Yeah. I the first conference I ever gave a talk at, it was ASP. It was the American Society of Primatologists. And I remember my advisor, who I adore, but she told me I was right about to go up. And she's like, remember, this is a conference. This is a talk. It's not stand-up comedy. And this is in 2011. And I say, and at the time I was like, yeah, I know. But now I say, why not?
Why not?
Why not? Why? I mean, it doesn't have to be like, again, education and the facts first, but why not approach it and entertain? Because, and Julie Lesnick, who is a wonderful bioanthro, she wrote a book called Eating Insects, highly recommend. But I interviewed her years ago about the importance of humor in her teaching. And she says, laughter is immediate feedback. It's immediate feedback that your audience is listening.
And connecting in an emotional way.
Yeah.
It's not just listening, but they're connecting.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's important. Yeah.
Right. And that'll help them remember. Even they might not remember the details of your research. They're going to remember you, which in academia, like, let's be real, it's about publish or perish. It's about forming and forging connections at conferences. And if somebody, if you're, although there is a there can be backlash to stuff like this too. Like, some people might not want to work with you because you were too humorous. You're too glib. You're not serious. Because I always say when I talk about science communication, take your work seriously, but not yourself, you know, have fun with it, with science communication. But some people might not like that, but I think things are changing more and more, because I think people are realizing that if we want to reach the public and get outside the rooms of a conference, because that's where a lot of this research lives and dies, you got to get out there, you know, or be open to other people presenting it in a way that's entertaining, you know, and that's why people love the show. Like somebody actually just messaged me while I was in the show going, oh, I love that podcast. Yeah. He was like, oh my God, I love that podcast. I was like, awesome. Tune in.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And he's actually
text him
coming
back, say Kiki says hi.
I will. I don't know when that debacle with my dog happened, she kicked my phone.
You're sitting on it. That's
I'm probably. Am I? I might be. I have no idea where my phone is. I think she might have eaten my phone.
She didn't eat your phone. Dogs don't do that. I do love here Daniel's comment from YouTube.
Oh,
but we're allowed to talk about all the violence you like, though. So we can talk about all the human aggression, chimpanzee aggression. We can talk about ant wars. We can talk about, you know, anything related to violence.
Infanticide, you know, real gnarly shit.
Yeah. But the minute we start talking about reproduction, or not even reproduction, but just sexual health.
Yeah.
It suddenly becomes a completely taboo subject. And it's like where we started, you can't monetize.
No.
You can't, it's not in a category. It's like, oh, you're talking too glibly about sexuality and genitalia and this. And so you're suddenly in a category that advertisers are not going to be happy to be advertising on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then it turns, okay, number one, all these platforms, monetizing through them is stupid. Number two, getting your own sponsors is hard, but that's really the way to do it, so that you have support from somebody who believes in what your messages are and what you're doing. And I think you've already done that with like a few groups who have supported you in different ad campaigns for breast health and mammograms and other stuff like that. But like,
I have not.
Really, the mammogram stuff was not. I thought that was.
I just did it I just did it because I wanted to talk about it. I had a friend that got diagnosed with very aggressive breast cancer maybe 3 months ago. She's like a year younger than I am, has 3 children, just got married. And I was like, and then the same day I had my mammogram, another friend that same day got diagnosed, and she's 30. You know, so I'm just like, women need to be on it.
I was convinced that you'd had sponsor support just to do that specific, like, because it was so so specific, a series of videos. But, yeah, but I think that's the unfortunate part of the creator churn, and making money as a creator on these platforms, I think, is not really what you're going to do. It's the trying to find your audience, like the people who are watching here right now, the people who have found you through Instagram or other places who want to support you. Like if you keep pushing your Patreon. But then it's also, it's finding other outside places, because yeah, you know this. Like, we've grown through the development of all of these platforms and seen things come and go quick. It disappeared. Like, opportunities come and go. And then if you base yourself, like I just want to tell people who are like, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a TikToker. I'm like, stop it.
Don't. Diversify.
Yes. Make the things you think are important. Find a home for yourself, which is your own website.
Yeah.
But then also put things on these platforms that can like lead back to you and get yourself your help. But I'm so mad.
Yeah. It's tough because I mean, I've watched people blow up on, say, for instance, like Twitter. They blow up and they think they are God's gift to Earth, and you're like, but you've only
How long is this?
done Twitter
Nothing.
and like
You've
for like
only done
8 months.
nothing.
But like like tweets and that's not. I mean, that you can engage with an audience, but like look at Twitter now. Twitter is what is it? Every time I go on it, it's a cesspool, and it's just a bunch of angry trolls arguing with people. And even Instagram, like I was making money on them for a little bit, and same with TikTok. I had a video that got 8.5 million views. Things started blowing up, like all the
Congratulations. That's
Thank
huge.
you. Yeah,
That's
well,
amazing.
Thank you. And it was a clip from my accident. I did a story collider show about my accident, and it's a lot of the comments are hate comments because they're mad because they think it's a stand-up show, and they're like, why isn't this hilarious? Why is this not funny enough? And I said, and I would comment like,
real.
It's about my near-death experience.
I told a story that was real.
Yeah, people don't know how to read the comment or the, caption. So, but anyways, point being like that, those hate comments, it was a great lesson because that drove the algorithm, and I would actually say, thank you. Like, hey, thanks. You're driving the algorithm. Have a good day. Like, also, I don't wish them any, but that's what I would do. And it's like, you don't delete it. You just kind of, yeah, like that. So, TikTok invited me to join their creator fund. And then, of course, as soon as I joined that, my views went down to 200, 300, whatever. And it was like from like 500,000.
You're like, wait a minute, what happened? I joined your group of like this fund that is supposed to be like the specially funded group of people on your site that are going to be doing well. And then
poof.
What?
Yeah, so I just decide I don't put any energy. I mean, I kind of I'll do like I'm doing a live tomorrow. I'm doing a live with a friend of mine who's a disease ecologist named Jake Sherba. He's wonderful, and we're friends from TikTok. And he's this great, I feel bad. He's written up a list of questions for me that go back to like my thesis. I'm like, oh God, like, you know what I mean? I was like, and he's like pulling up things from way back when, and I'm like, I haven't done any ample research, but he's done some really neat research about different worms affecting waterfowl and ducks and lots of duck stuff. I feel so bad because I'm like, I need to read it. I actually sent myself all the articles, but point being, I'll do these type things.
You gotta do your research because obviously he's done his.
I know.
Oh geez.
But so I'll do that kind of stuff, but I don't, but like you said, I don't put all my eggs in one basket. I'm working on a book proposal right now. I'm like, I'm doing a bunch of different little, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just kind of pivot. And then I've got the Science for Social Change is about to come out, and that will be, I've got a bunch of episodes backlog for that, but it's academic-y, science-y, but
oh my God.
You'll like it. I think you'll enjoy some of it.
I'm gonna love
people
it.
I'm interviewing.
So many people who watch this show are going to love it too. Yeah.
So many good scientists.
It's going to be great.
Yeah. And I'm going to have you on. Yep.
I'm not interested in social change.
I want everything to stay the same. I'm happy. It's good. I'm just going to put some googly eyes on some hedges. Don't mind me.
If I put enough googly eyes on things, everything's fine.
Oh my God. But you do. I mean, like, this has been going on for it's 952 episodes.
Yeah, so I've been doing this for over...
That's amazing.
TWIS is weekly. I've been doing it over 20 years, and it's a whole labor of love.
Where did you start doing it?
When I was in grad school at UC Davis.
Oh my God.
It was a terrestrial radio show to start, and then we started following the technology, and I made tape cassette recordings, and then I did MP3 like mini disc recordings, and then my friend was like, I can put these on the internet for you, and I was like, okay. And so we made a website, and then we had
God.
we had people who actually found the website and like downloaded things, and I was like, what? And then iTunes made its iPod directory, and we got in there, and I'm in a debate with one of the people from Science Friday, but I think we started our podcast before Science Friday did. So
Yeah.
I think TWIS is like the first science podcast. And
That's fantastic.
close to longest running.
Wow.
We're not every day like some other weekly things. Other shows are like, we do Monday through Friday, and we're already at like 5,000 episodes or whatever. But like,
That's a lot.
I got decades on people.
That's amazing. That is a long ass time. I started listening in 2007. Dear Lord. That's
Paul Disney's been
amazing.
around for a long time. Yes.
That's so great. I love that though. See, I definitely need to have you on because I need to hear the whole story.
Yeah. No, I've got
All of it.
All of the story of all the things. And I've been working my origin
I'm on the show,
story.
darling. Bring Jennifer Lawrence.
I bring Jennifer on a bonobo, and we'll talk about how I swam in ditches and then did radio and now do this amazing SciComm
my
thing
God.
and try to tell people that it's good for the world. Okay.
Yeah. Doing the not Lord's work. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Paul Disney, you're funny. According to some of my family members, TWIS gets its money from Big Pharma and the government. Wecka, wecka, wecka. Oh, that's funny
Wow.
because, yeah, no.
That's really funny. Oh my God. Wow. Oh, wow.
I
it is
actually
11.
turned down pharma money.
What?
Yes, there was a pharma company that approached me for to sponsor the show, probably over
Wow.
a decade ago now, and I said no.
Wow.
I could
Yeah.
have made more. I could have made more money, y'all.
God. It's tough having morals. Ethical dilemmas suck.
This is why right.
Do you have sponsors other than the Patreons, or is it did I miss
No.
that?
No, it's all Patreon. It's all listener supported.
That's great.
If we ever have any sponsors, it's only going to be sponsors that I believe are good for my listeners.
Copy that.
It's something they will appreciate.
Yeah.
And so it's worth it. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's just where I am. I
don't blame you.
I could have been big, Natalia.
You are big. You're big time.
I could have been.
You'll always be big to me. Big old Kiki.
I'm probably shorter than you, but that's okay.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm short. How tall are
too.
you?
I like to say I'm 5'3 3/4, but that is not true, and I'm stretching it.
Oh, okay. I'm 5'5".
See,
So
there we go.
yeah, I
If
am
I
a
put
bit
on-
taller.
If I
Yeah.
really work on my posture,
I know.
I'll be tall. I'll wear my high heels.
There you go. I have eight tall glitter shit kickers. They look like kiss shoes. You know, the big old.
Are they platformers?
Yeah,
Those are the
I wear them
best.
every so often. I wore them at one night at Burning Man for like 12 hours. I don't know how I did it. I don't understand.
It's because they're platforms.
Yeah, but still,
Platforms, but still, that's
they're
8
pretty. 8 inches is
inches is that's
like, yeah.
but platforms probably
6'2".
half of
Yeah.
that was platform.
Yeah, and then
So
yeah.
heels. Oh my goodness.
Ah!
You have a partner who's home and a raisin dog who's gelatinous.
A sack of beans and sand that needs to be hugged.
Needs to be hugged.
She needs love.
And loved. And all the things.
And you have cats and a human person and a child. You made a human.
I did. I made a human. And he has to go to school tomorrow. Which means I have to get up in the morning.
No.
Yeah, I'm doing this. I'm trying to do this whole thing recently. I'm like, maybe I can sleep until 5 minutes before I have to take him to school, and he'll make his own breakfast and lunch. That's my new thing. He's 12 and a half. It's going to be great.
It's going on 30.
So, yeah. Take care of yourself, kid. Come on.
You're fine.
Yeah. It's going to be amazing.
Get yourself a pack of cigarettes. Have a good one.
Just stare into the meaningless void of your iPhone, and that's all you need forever. Paul Disney is gonna render the audio and upload it. Awesome, and then goes because it's after 11.
It's late.
It's late.
It's late.
Yeah.
My little baby head needs to go to sleepy sleeps. What the
You got to put your skull. You got to put your skulls to sleep, and
I tuck them in.
I put each one of them on a pillow so that they sleep well at night. That's not creepy at all, but it would be awesome
at all. For my solid gold.
The solid gold one gets a hot pink pillow because I think gold and hot pink go really well together.
They go really well together. It's pretty nice.
Hot pink satin. It'll be really nice and comfy for the gold. It'll be really good.
Paranthropus boise definitely talks that way. I can just tell. I can feel it. It's 2:15 in the morning where you are.
Youch, you up late, Robert.
You're in New York? Where are you?
Yeah, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry to talk your ear off.
You know what?
Mustaches.
Sometimes people stay up for the mustaches.
And on that note,
New Jersey.
Oh, Jersey.
That place has a lot of trees and apparently bears, which I wasn't aware of until recently because somebody else I know was talking about New Jersey and the bears in New Jersey. What?
Da bears.
No, but not da bears. It's
bears.
Bears.
I just like to eat a bunch of blackberries and just roll around in salmon and fun.
You salmon, blackberries, maybe a little beehive. It's all good.
Oh, man. Beehiving. I want to hang out in New Jersey now.
You want to be hiving?
Yeah, I want to be hiving.
Maybe that's the new slang. It's like, what you doing?
I'm beehiving in Jersey. I be hiving. I be having. I be having. I gotta find my phone. I think my dog ate it. Or maybe she's beehiving. She ain't behaving very well.
Oh, behave. Behave. No, behave. Natalia, have a wonderful, wonderful night. It was
I faded. I just hit a wall. I'm like, I have no more funny or entertaining things that I could possibly say.
I feel like that's actually not true, but I understand the wall. I feel like at this point, if we kept going, it would be interesting, weird, funny, because you would be like the smashed thing that hit the wall. What comes after that? I don't know.
The fun things in my.
You don't know. Who knows?
What else is in this?
Like I said, you have the most interesting drawer.
Oh yeah, I did find more mushrooms. That was that's like just the things at the bottom of my drawer.
Thing. I just keep it there in the bottom of my drawer. Just
you never know when you might need some psychedelics. Like it's legal here or decriminalized, whatever. It's decriminalized.
Decriminalized,
right? Because isn't it decriminalized where you are?
Yep.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
which I think is great.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So next episode
Good,
will be
good.
Kiki and Natalia applying googly eyes and mustaches to hedges on mushrooms.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's
Just two wild and
decriminalized.
crazy fun guys.
It's wild and crazy, guys.
Don't worry, it's decriminalized.
Oh, man. Don't worry. I'll send you that gray sweatshirt you need to wear so we can be like matchy and
Oh my god.
be wild and crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
All
right.
Oh my god. Okay. Mwah.
Go to sleep in your dark forest.
I will go. Love your weird cat that likes to
going
kill
to.
things.
She's seriously looking at me right now like, really? Am I still waiting? Oh, my God.
Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah.
John. And I'm glad we're friends now. We follow each other. I think it was on YouTube, or
Yay.
if you're on Instagram, I'll follow you and we can be friends. Yes. Or no, it was on Facebook. I can't remember. Anyways, this is the fading. The fade.
The
slow
fade.
fade.
It happens. There's the night
Okay.
and the fade,
Mwah.
and it's like you go into the darkness, and then you sleep, and you breathe like your pug. Sleep well.
Yes, you too. I'll see you soon.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yes.
I really.
Let's do it again sometime.
I
Anytime.
yeah. I have a lot of fun talking science with you, so I really would like to do this again. So
Yay. All this.
thank
This is special.
you.
Mwah.
It is.
Bye.
Have a great night.
You
Thank you,
too.
everyone,
Take
for
care.
joining. And Natalia, sleep well. Everyone, stay safe. Stay healthy. Stay, I don't know, whatever you are, and curious. And of course, be lucky.